His time as owner was also marred by mishandled sexual assault allegations against former video coach Brad Aldridge, although independent investigations concluded that Wirtz was not aware of any of the allegations. His son and now team CEO Danny Wirtz is expected to take ownership of the team and other Wirtz properties. Human remains found buried 40 years ago in Indiana have been identified as a Chicago teen, a victim of serial killer Larry Eyler. The remains belong to Keith Bibbs, who was 16 when he died. The teen's remains were found in 1983 at an abandoned Newton County, Indiana farm. A UPS driver was shot Tuesday morning while delivering packages in Chicago's West Humboldt Park neighborhood. It happened around 11 a.m. The driver is in good condition. A lawsuit has been filed on behalf of 3 injured in an incident where a Jeep crashed into a Hinsdale sub shop. According to attorney Lou Cairo, the 3 plaintiffs in the case sustained physical and emotional injuries when the Jeep came crashing through the facade of that building. The legal complaint alleges 6 counts of negligence against Fuller Car Wash and Martin Contreras as father of Martin Contreras Jr. Contreras Jr. was an employee of the car wash at the time of the crash and was operating that Jeep. Mayor Johnson and federal officials are assessing flood damage to homes on Chicago's west side.
We need every single resident in the city of Chicago who has been impacted by this storm to call 311 and to make sure that there's a full assessment of their damage.
Johnson touring the area yesterday along with Federal Emergency Management Agency personnel.
We are doing everything we can now to validate those damages to go for the eligibility with FEMA.
In response to the disaster, the governor has declared a disaster proclamation for several Illinois counties, including Cook. More than a year ahead of the Democrat National Convention in Chicago, a peace deal has been brokered with union leaders. Jamie Harrison is with the DNC.
Sometimes you come into the cities that are hosting the convention, and there are a lot of internal dynamics.
The agreement means unions won't strike during the convention. 2 brothers whose murder convictions were overturned are suing the Chicago Police Department. Reginald Harrison and Sean Tyler filed suit claiming they were coerced into making false confessions by officers linked to former CPD Commander John Burge.
One thing that you can never get back is time. 25 years is gone. I can't get that back. Aside from that, the people who passed away cannot be brought back. What needs to be done is just justice.
In other news we're following this morning, the Indiana Department of Education will be sending surveys to all schools next month after state lawmakers passed a law requiring automatic external defibrillators at all extracurricular activities. It comes after a lacrosse player in LaPorte, Indiana, died from an undetected heart condition. As expected, President Biden has designated a national monument to honor Emmett Till and his mother.
Only with truth comes healing, justice, repair, and another step forward toward forming a more perfect union. We got a hell of a long way to go.
The president signing the proclamation Tuesday. Notre Dame football great Johnny Lujack is dead. School made the announcement Tuesday after the 98-year-old had been battling a brief illness. Lujack quarterbacked the Fighting Irish to 3 national championships and won the Heisman Trophy in 1947. Lujack was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame after playing for the Bears in 1960. After his sophomore season at Notre Dame, he gave up football, serving time in World War II in England, in the Navy, hunting German submarines. And here's something else you probably didn't know about Johnny Lujack. Lujack served as a television color commentator for several years, teaming up with the legendary Chris Schenkel to call New York Giants games. However, in 1962, when Ford signed on as a major car sponsor and learned that Lujack was a Chevrolet dealer in Davenport, Iowa, he was let go. replaced by Pat Summerall. Dansby Swanson, a pair of home runs, leading the Cubs to a 7-3 win over the White Sox as the Crosstown Series at the Rate gets underway.
I just love the way we pass the baton, just at bat to at bat. Guys having selfless at bats, whether it's moving runners or giving themselves up to, like Billy did on sac fly, and Nico obviously with some great base running.
Christopher Morel, Nico Horner also win yard. Cubs on a 4-game win streak. Two teams face off again tonight. Bears will have a full roster at training camp today. All remaining players are expected to report to camp after rookies and select veterans checked in over the weekend. The Big Ten has released its preseason media poll for football. Illinois selected to finish 4th place in the Big Ten West. That's not right. But Northwestern finishing dead last, 7th in the division. That looks right. Illinois football adding former rival Jim Leonhardt to its staff, named a senior football analyst for the program, joining the Illini from Wisconsin, where he was snubbed as head coach. The news service of In Grace with Jim Scudder Jr., Sunday mornings at 6:30 on AM 560, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum explains the heart of the nation.
The heart of America is in a small town. The heart of America is in the flyover states. That's what America is all about. Men and women busting their tail to keep this country going. Who do you think is making your food? They're the ones that keep the country moving. They're the ones that make the world go round, in my opinion.
The Officer Tatum Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
The best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda is to opt out of his inflation game by diversifying your savings into gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word SHELTER to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, so text SHELTER to 989898 right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
This is Mike Gallagher. Sign up today for an unforgettable experience in Israel this October. Dennis Prager and I are traveling to the Holy Land on the Stand With Israel tour with our trusted partner, Inspiration Cruises and Tours. This is a trip of a lifetime. You don't want to miss it. Register today before it's too late. Visit standwithisraeltour.com, standwithisraeltour.com, or call 855-565-5519, 855-565-5519. And together, let's stand with Israel.
Do you know the number one complaint homeowners have about remodeling? How long it takes. Rick here from Forever Remodeling. Home remodels that were supposed to take weeks often stretch out to months or even up to a year. That's because many remodelers bite off more than they can chew. They take on too many jobs, they get spread too thin, and you end up frustrated, waiting an eternity for your project to get done. Call Forever Remodeling instead. From start to finish, we show your remodel the attention it deserves. We limit the number of jobs we do at one time. This lets us dedicate ourselves to getting your project done on schedule while delivering a result that's better than you imagined. For a free consultation, call Forever Remodeling at 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. We do kitchens, baths, basements, additions, and more. That's the number 4everremodeling.com.
512, check of the roads, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A service of Lowe's. MVP bonus days back at Lowe's. Right now, save $60 when you buy a DeWalt impact driver or drill, $99 each. Lowe's knows pros, valid through 8/2. I-65 stalled flatbed truck right lane, northbound at 109th. Accident on the Tri-State, 2 right lanes blocked, southbound right before Everett Road. Dan Ryan exit ramp closed due to an accident. It's on the inbound side in the locals at Pershing. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our AccuWeather meteorologist Steve Williams.
Times of clouds and sun, shower and a heavy thunderstorm today. Could bring some downpours, damaging wind, isolated tornado, high 94. Partly cloudy tonight, low 72. Partly sunny, hot and humid tomorrow, the high again 94. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
78 O'Hare, 75 Lakefront, 79 Midway, 76 in Wheeling, 74 in Lansing. And your Lake Michigan water temp this morning.
Kitchen, you need to pick up the phone and call 1-800-SERVPRO. Only the cleanup and restoration specialists at ServPro can help make fire and water damage like it never even happened. So make the call to 1-800-ServPro when fire damage strikes. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
Hi, I'm Test Director Rick from ServPro, the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. It's my job to make sure our pros are prepared for anything. Storm damage? Fixed. Flood damage? We're on it. Fire damage? Not anymore. Aliens? What aliens? We cleaned those sites a while ago. No matter the disaster, our pros will make it like it never even happened. Find out why ServPro is the #1 choice for residential and commercial restoration projects large and small. Visit servpro.com today.
Hey, Craig and Leslie here from In the Know. We know how important it is to take a partner in the passenger seat when you're on a long road trip. You need a trusted friend and a voice to help you navigate through the hills and valleys of your journey. We want to be that voice for you on your road to retirement.
Absolutely. Our whole team at Wealth Management Group will be by your side for the long haul.
Let Wealth Management Group be your compass and your guide to retirement.
Find us at investwithwmg.com and tune in each week to In the Know Sunday mornings at 10 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Hi, it's Scott Tucker. I'm the host of Retirement Dakota with Scott Tucker on AM 560 The Answer. Listen to the show every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. and again at 5 p.m. By the way, I want to offer you a free copy of my latest book, Escape Illinois, Should I Stay or Should I Go? This book is very helpful if you want to escape Illinois or if you want to stay put in retirement. You can just go to retirementdecoded.com. That's retirementdecoded.com. Put in your information and we will send you a free copy of the book right there.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. If it's all true, it's by far the biggest scandal in U.S. history. At least 9 members of the Biden family, including Joe Biden himself, have allegedly received at least $10 million from corrupt foreign actors. One country involved is America's chief adversary, China. IRS whistleblowers have stated that many in government, including the Justice Department, work to ensure no investigation of Hunter Biden would ever implicate the president. It all sounds pretty newsworthy, but these disclosures have made hardly a ripple on the pond of mainstream media coverage. Of course, the media leans left, but there's more to it than that. This time, the media's credibility is at stake. The roadmap to the corruption was on Hunter Biden's laptop. The laptop it insisted before the election was Russian disinformation. By covering the story now, the media must confess its own corruption and complicity then. And so the silence continues.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Gatto Industrial Platers, Inc. is the specialist in zinc and zinc nickel plating. Gatto is big, they're good, and they're easy to work with. Their high production rack plating line has up to a 27-foot capacity to handle any zinc plating requirement. Gatto's 210,000 square foot facility can process 300 tons per day and offers complete custom packaging with available pickup and delivery in the Chicago metro area by Gatto's own fleet of trucks. All of Gatto's products are inspected and certified to ensure that each customer is receiving the best and most cost-effective plating protection.
Gatto is home to King Kong, the largest zinc plating line in North America that can zinc plate parts up to 27 feet long and weighing up to 8,000 pounds. For a quote and fast 24 to 48 hour service, call George Gatto Jr. or George Gatto Sr. at 1-800-290-1223. That's 1-800-290-1223. 1-800-290-1223.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The surprising news of Rocky Wirtz's sudden death yesterday. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Rocky Wirtz obviously had a historic run with the Blackhawks and was the scion of not just that sports empire, but also a wine and spirits empire, distribution empire.
Yeah, and he was just 70 years old, and they said he died suddenly or from a sudden, brief illness at North Shore Evanston Hospital last night. He was surrounded by his wife, Marilyn, and his 4 kids were with him at the time, and he also had 6 grandchildren. But 70 is not old.
So I had a few interactions with Rocky Wirtz over the years, just in radio and actually a couple times at the Hawks games. And always genuinely courteous, nice guy. There's no disputing his success as a business executive either.
Yeah, when he started, they had about 5,000 people at Blackhawk games. Then he, got them on television, and now, they are what they are.
So
An amazing franchise.
My angle into this is a bit different than probably most you'll hear talking about this as people try to reconcile his death. It's an important, it's been an important family in Chicago for a long time. He was a important and popular figure. And so here was my sort of initial thought, getting past what everybody else is going to say, because it's obvious about his success and so forth. And people who knew him, about what a nice guy he was, and that was my interaction. So, but thinking about this, also in the context of another scion of a renowned Chicago-based family passing away just a few weeks earlier, Jim Crown, in that car accident out in Colorado. So this is not to diminish Rocky's legacy, but maybe this is an opportune time to assess the performance of the city's potentates over the last few generations and contemplate who and what comes next. Because Rocky Wirtz was also in the news. I mean, not really, but I made mention of it. We were discussing Northwestern last week because he went there and he's on the board of trustees. So he's in the mix, arguably, of all that has transpired and is transpiring at Northwestern, and the implications that has, not just for the future of that sports at that school, its reputation, but the future of college education and college sports and the tandem writ large, because there's all sorts of precedents potentially being set depending on how things work themselves out at Northwestern. So I say this, so I'm not thrusting Rocky Wirtz into a position as a city elder. He was one. He chose to make that part of his portfolio. And so when somebody chooses to enter a particular arena, I think it's fair to say, okay, well, how did he do in that space? And so how did he do? How did Jim Crown do? I mean, we had this conversation with Ted Dabrowski in part yesterday. Ted talking from Wire Points. Ted talking about his interactions with some of these sort of civic federation, better government association, self-styled goo-goos that roam around the city, meander to city club luncheons here and there, and are on panel discussions, get a star turn at WGN to analyze this public policy or that election. So how are they doing? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Rocky Wirtz was on Neil Cavuto's show in April. It may have been his last media appearance, at least talking about something other than hockey and Connor Bedard. He was on with Neil Cavuto on Fox Business to talk about the implications of BLM Brandon's mayoral victory. So this is mid-April. And here's what Rocky had to say. The initial instinct for the Economic Club, Northwestern Board of Trustees, Civic Federation, Better Government Association types is, even if there's fundamental philosophical disagreement, to be conciliatory.
Well, I think that the mayor-elect, he's concerned about public safety also. I think the goals are the same. It's just how you get there might be differently. So it's no secret that the business committee was very much in favor of Paul Vallis. But this is a time now for unity. This is a time now that Chicago has 50 different wards. This is a time for the 50 wards to work together with City Hall. And I believe that the mayor-elect is going to do that. If he comes out of the gate strong, which I believe he will, this is a time to reinforce the help that the business community can have. And quite frankly, who wants? I mean, every major city is having problems with crime. Chicago is no different.
So we're a few months in, and is that what happened? As Rocky predicted, that BLM Brandon came out strong?
No, BLM Brandon within 3 days had a reparations committee hearing. You're gathering information on that. And then he had a climate change summit. So he didn't address crime, and crime directly affects businesses in Chicago. So I think Brandon Johnson, and he is avoiding the media like you would never believe. I mean, no, he is so inaccessible to the media to answer questions. Saturday morning dog park at 10 a.m., you can go to that. He'll take a few questions there, one each. But Brandon Johnson has done nothing so far to help the city of Chicago.
Well, he's
he's
learned one thing from Lori Lightfoot: don't put yourself too far out on a ledge. Running around making a spectacle of yourself probably doesn't help you politically in the long run. So he's where he's been comfortable previously, sort of behind the scenes, on the periphery. So that's probably a smart political choice for Brandon Johnson. So your answer on Brandon Johnson speaks to, in part, an assessment of Rocky Wirtz, doesn't it?
Well, it sounded like he was trying to be optimistic because he can't change the results of the election. So he's, we'll see. We're going to, just like everybody else.
That's not what he said. He didn't say we'll see. That's not what he said.
He said what should have he said? What should have he said? Words are hard in the morning.
Don't you get tired of listening to political talk from people who aren't politicians? It's bad enough when you have to listen to them from politicians. If somebody is putting themselves out there as a city elder, you're supposed to be in part a check on politicians, right? If you're going to be a leader, a civic leader, then you have to tell the truth. And do you think Rocky Wirtz really believed that Brandon Johnson was going to get off to a fast start and was going to get about the business of unifying the city, the 50 wards, whatever that even means? What does unifying the city mean? When Rocky Wirtz turned around the Blackhawks, he had a plan, and he was
successful.
Right, he had a plan, and he put the personnel together to execute the plan. And when it comes to politics, public policy, institutions over which Rocky Wirtz had some influence, did he have a plan? Did he get involved to make sure the personnel were in place to execute a plan so that you could derive a successful outcome? I mean, again, Rocky Wirtz could go through the same thing with Jim Crown, who was much less successful on his own terms. Just just sort of managed the downflow from Lester Crown and generations of Crowns. Rocky Wirtz actually turned around a franchise. That's a lot different. So he achieved success on his own terms. But
and also too, my friend that knew him said that he was as nice as can be to everybody. No, that he treated everybody, whether there was a security guard or a parking attendant, he treated everyone beautifully.
That was my experience. Yeah. What Bruce Wolf tweeted out when we had him, when I was over at WLS with Bruce, we had him in studio at WLS after the first cup, I think. No, it was the second. But anyway, he came in studio. He didn't bring the Stanley Cup, so we didn't write Stanley on a styrofoam coffee cup, and we had fun with it. I mean, he was great.
That's awesome.
He was great, and he was great. I mean, he's an engaging, likable guy. Not talking about that. I'm talking about titans of industry who maybe like or feel obligated to take on honorifics. I'm on a board of this. I'm going to comment on that, but without consequence and without real commitment. And so you get the sort of, I don't know how else to describe it, the weasel words you heard there from Rocky Wirtz in that discussion with Cavuto, rather than providing some leadership about the dire situation the city finds itself in with respect to public safety and finances, the implications of the condition, of those challenges if we don't have policies that are proportional to the threats that are posed, and the indications from Brandon Johnson and a whole host of other politicians at the city and the state level that they are unserious about the challenges. I mean, Ken Griffin probably came as close as anybody in recent memory to speaking plainly about some of these things. But even he was a bit of a dilettante when it came to politics. I mean, $50 million bets on Richard Irvin and a bunch of goofy, like establishment hack consultants. Never going to work. But what's it to him? Maybe people think I'm being unfair. I don't know. But we're supposed to listen to these people who made a bunch of money in one sector and then decide they're going to be political leaders or political and cultural leaders. Well, if that's the program, then don't we have to make some determinations about their success, just as we would when we go to the ballot box and make a determination about the performance of a politician? Or is that off limits? We're just supposed to go along with this idea, hey, look, this is just some more resume padding, more fodder for my epitaph. You're not really supposed to take it seriously. You're not really supposed to hold me accountable. You're not really supposed to ask me difficult questions. You're not really supposed to challenge the political cant that I spew. So how's it going? How's it going under those generations? Where are we at today? How have they done? Those families and longtime potentates in Chicago, how have they done for Illinois, for the city and for the state? That's a fair question. It's one that Ice Cube will answer when it comes to South Central L.A. Ice Cube and Tucker Carlson. You thought you'd heard those two names in the same sentence. 538.
And later, Hunter Biden heads to court. And did you hear? 6 seconds gone from try that in a small town video. We'll tell you why. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
78 degrees, 532. More hot and steamy weather today. And air quality, as is typical, will be impacted. President Biden's son Hunter is due to appear in federal court in Delaware, expected to plead guilty to misdemeanor tax crimes. Federal judge strikes down the Biden administration's new rules for asylum seekers at the southern border. The judge ruling against the new rule that allows immigration authorities to deny asylum to migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border if they did not first apply online or seek protection in a country they passed through. The judge put that ruling on hold for 14 days. Congress will hold a much-anticipated hearing on UFOs today. Conservative House Republicans are pushing for spending cuts below levels agreed to in the debt ceiling bill brokered by Speaker Kevin McCarthy and the White House.
We failed the American people. Everyone who voted for that bill essentially owned the Biden agenda, the Biden spending, for the remaining 1.5 years of this Congress.
Virginia Republican Bob Good, State Department says a former U.S. Marine previously imprisoned in Russia has now been hurt while fighting in Ukraine. Trevor Reed is receiving medical care in Germany after stepping on a landmine. Federal Reserve's pause on interest rate hikes appears to be over. Bank rates Greg McBride this morning.
It'll be the 11th time in 12 meetings they will have raised interest rates. We're getting close to the end. Is this the last one? Will they raise more in the fall? That's an open-ended question, and the outcome of which is going to be largely dependent on what we see on the inflation data.
The goal is to bring inflation down to 2%. Volunteers working frantically on a second day to save dozens of pilot whales that have stranded themselves on a beach this winter in Western Australia. More than 50 have died. Residents along Florida's Space Coast are preparing for the rumble of a SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket launch, either late Wednesday or Thursday, the triple-core rocket blasting off from the Kennedy Space Center. We're watching a developing story as more than 30 drugs may face supply chain issues after a tornado tore through a North Carolina Pfizer plant. The Rocky Mount facility makes close to a quarter of Pfizer's injectable medicines used at hospitals across the U.S. That Mega Millions jackpot keeps growing. No grand prize winner last night. Top prize, a healthy $910 million. You've heard Dan and Amy talk about it this morning with you. Blackhawks owner Rocky Wirtz is dead at the age of 70. Authorities are investigating after a pickup truck crashed into a grocery store in Antioch. A truck was traveling yesterday when it left the roadway and slammed into Polson's food store. The driver is hospitalized. Chicago sports. Dansby Swanson, a pair of long balls in a Cubs 7-3 win over the White Sox in the Crosstown Series. Bears, full roster at training camp today. The news, a service of MyPillow. MyPillow employees want to thank you by giving you the lowest price in history on MyPillows. Queen size MyPillows, regular price $69.98, now only $19.98 with promo code LIBERTY. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk says the left is playing for keeps.
These are extra-constitutional organizations, efforts underway to stop you from having a voice. They detest you. They hate you. You're a Christian, if you're a plumber, if you work with your hands, if you're an ordinary American, they hate your values. They hate everything you stand for, and they are playing for keeps. The 2024 election, they are playing for keeps.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer. An informed and educated citizenry is the only guarantee to preserve our constitutional republic. And each week, you'll hear from experts, not pundits, and find out what's really happening, from local issues to national politics. Listen to The Real Story with Jeannie Ives. There's no topic of public policy concern that she won't talk about. Stop the lies. Learn the truth. Join the conversation. Sunday night at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
Retirement planning can be complicated. From asset and legacy protection to retirement income and extended care, you need a plan. Tune in to Retirement and Income Radio, hosted by well-known Chicagoland financial educator Mark Kohler. Mark helps listeners in or near retirement protect their savings from market volatility while creating lifetime guaranteed income. Listen to Retirement and Income Radio Sunday afternoons at 3:30 on AM 560 The Answer, or call Mark now at 844-619-SAFE.
If you speed, there are lots of sounds that you might hear, like the sound of your vehicle crashing, because eventually, speeding catches up with you.
5:39, quick check on the roads. In our Team Hochberg Traffic Center, stop-and-go traffic already on the inbound Kennedy, Nagel to Montrose. As you're traveling on the Ike this morning, you're jammed up in the avenues, 17th all the way to Des Plaines Avenue. Stevenson inbound 26, 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. We'll have some sun, breezy and humid. Showers and thunderstorms, well, the best chance sometime between 8 and 11 a.m. today. We'll monitor that for you. 94 for a high temp, 78 right now. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy are talking about the passing of Blackhawks chairman Rocky Wirtz. And we may be having some phone issues, so bear with us here. We do want to hear from you.
You could also text us at 64636. Type in DA. That might work.
I got a message, the kids there that use Instagram, like Greg and Schomburg.
You mean the gram? Yeah.
Yeah. He sent me this message. Wow, he changes his family policy, and within 2 years he has a dynasty. All of the fun, kids who know hockey, the financial impact to the city and to the Blackhawks employees. Dan, doesn't he deserve 30 minutes to praise that and its impact on all our lives and not mix in the check on politicians? Yeah, sure. Well, that's why I solicited, reflections and reactions. I mean, everybody is going to sing his praises and just limit it to that. And so I'm just trying to expand the conversation, particularly, again, as I said, with the additional passing of a powerful family scion in Jim Crown a few weeks ago, and say, well, what about an assessment? If you were going to assess the impact and we're on the city, as Greg wants us to do, and that's fair, then why not assess the impact across the board and all the spaces in which he was involved? The impact on the Blackhawks and Blackhawk fandom and kids playing hockey and, and reigniting the love of the sport and the franchise and so on and so forth. I can see the point. I said at the outset, great business executive, success on his own terms. I think most observers would agree that it was a lot more enjoyable. The Blackhawks, a lot more enjoyable at the stadium, at the UC.
You don't fall asleep like you do at Bulls games.
And watching and the whole than it was under his father.
Yeah, William, who died.
Dollar Bill, I think was actually the handle. So yeah, I get it.
But I felt like you're kind of dancing on his grave a little bit.
Yeah.
When you brought up the Northwestern, because we don't know. He might have already been hospitalized and sick when that happened. We don't know. Because, I mean, they said he had a brief illness and he died at Evanston Hospital last night. But we don't know if he had any say or at all. He could have been sick. I mean, it was only 2 weeks ago that we found out everything about the Northwestern alleged hazing incidents.
Is that the only issue we have at Northwestern?
No, I mean, I know he went on Fox, but the Fox News.
No. Is that the only issue we have with Northwestern? Is that the only time I've invoked what's going on on Northwestern's campus that is an affront to academic freedom, to excellence, to integrity, to leadership? Hardly.
No, hardly. Especially sex toys and all that. I mean,
so it's not limited to what's happened since Pat Fitzgerald got fired. It just includes it. So, I mean, so you want to assess impact on somebody who had this profound impact. Well, why don't we expand it? If you want to just have everybody repeat press release lines, like Rocky would do when it came to politics, well, then you can go listen to these, mouth-breathing goons on every other radio station. Karen and Beecher, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Oh, good morning. Dan, I cannot remember. Was it Rocky or his old man who forever changed the liquor distribution system with Reverend Jackson and with Shakedown? I can't remember if it was Rocky or his dad, but I agree with you because people don't know the backstory of that story and how it has changed the restaurant and the liquor store and the grocery store situations, and with the shakedown of the liquor distribution. So, I mean, that has to be taken into account, whether or not it's Rocky or his old man, because if it was the old man, then Rocky carried it on, and it's destroyed and had negative impact on a lot of small businesses.
Thanks for the call, Karen. Well, yeah, being in the liquor distribution business is not the province of the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, that's for sure. And yeah, I mean, it's basically a cartel, state sanctioned. And Illinois is not the only place that's the case, but it is also the case here. And of course there was no pause in getting involved in politics when it was to advance the interests of Judge and Dolph. So, but you're not allowed to talk about impact in a political context, in a civic and cultural context. He's a political, civic, and cultural leader. Giant, if you will. Strange to me. Here's a text, other aspects of the Rocky Wirtz record. Again, good, bad, and the ugly. What's wrong with that? He and his partners privately financed the United Center in '94, which revitalized and continues to reshape the West Side. Well, yeah, sort of. But anyway, go on here. It receives no taxpayer dollars, which is rare among stadiums across the U.S. That's true. The UC pays millions in taxes, amusement taxes, fees to the city and county. He then invested another $165 million at the campus there, built a community ice rink that is accessible to the community and all CPS kids, and is trying to expand it. He pays for hundreds of programs that support families on the West Side. That means something. I agree. He doesn't just hang out at cigar clubs downtown. Oh, I think that's a shot at me.
Oh, uh-oh.
But I don't. I don't hang out at cigar clubs downtown.
Because you don't go downtown.
His investments helped reshape an entire section of the city. Name another developer who sinks money into the West Side and continues to. The UC is part of the reason you have all those restaurants and homes and businesses in the West Loop. He absolutely has given back. I get that people are going to be like knee-jerk upset and just react because I've challenged some of the other aspects of his performance in places where he was in positions of leadership. And I'm using him as an example to talk writ large about business executives, civic and cultural leaders so appointed or conferred that status, and people don't want to talk about that because they don't know most of them, and the ones they do know, like Rocky Wirtz, they like because of the Blackhawks. I get it, but that's why I'm trying to challenge people's thinking. So that's all well and good. Should think about scaling. This gives even more leverage than his personal wealth and popularity as a successful Blackhawks franchise owner to impose his will, if you will, on behalf of sensible people on the political class. So look, I get it. Chicago's a failed city and Illinois is a failed state, and there's plenty of blame to go around. If I've said that once, I've said it 1,000 times. And I include myself in that because I've been in politics for 25 years in this state. And look at the state of the Republican Party. It's a catastrophe. So I'll take my share of blame, and we can debate all of that too. I'm not exempting myself from that conversation. I've been in the arena, so you can make an assessment of me too. People do. No problem. I don't have to agree with it, but I don't pretend that I'm off limits. Well, why is it? Why do we have to have people off limits? I don't understand that. I just don't understand the philosophy. You cannot say a cross word about, and it's not even a cross word. It's not like it's ad hominem. I'm offering a perspective on performance. It's not like I'm saying he's a bad guy or going off on him. In fact, I'm saying quite the opposite. So, yeah, okay. You want to do that? You want to do the game of let's see who's given the most to nonprofits or done the most with respect to, on a proportional basis with respect to their income or family wealth or so on and so forth. We can play that game. I'm saying, given somebody's position, given their potential influence, and given what they choose to do with it, the arenas they enter for the purpose of leveraging their influence, or at least they could do that, as opposed to just add another bullet point on a CV. How they do. I mean, if a little old me is willing to submit to that scrutiny, shouldn't that same scrutiny be applied to people that are much more influential? No? Nothing to say. He's a nice guy, and he privately financed the UC. He was not another taxpayer suck like most of these pro sports teams around the country. And he did some CPS programs, and he built a community ice rink. And, yeah, obviously.
And he helped expand the Fifth Third Arena. Somebody just texted that in.
And obviously, with the Blackhawks' success, that was great for business in the West Loop and generally for the city. And also great for the Blackhawks. Well, this is the whole point about capitalism. Go read Adam Smith, the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. In fact, I mean, this is the point. You, in pursuit of your self-interest, others benefit. Yeah, I got it. That's every business to varying scales. And so, Northwestern Board of Trustees off limits. His forays into politics, particularly state and local, off limits. No, not for me. As I said, you want to just join the chorus and accentuate the things that you're comfortable talking about, fine. Say whatever you have to say, or say nothing, which is what most people do. Go ahead.
I'm just great. I mean, anybody who helps donate to CPS and doesn't suck off the government is a leader to me. And I met him a few times. He was a lovely person. Yes, he could have done more on Nick Cavuto on Fox Business, but that's what he really Neil Cavuto. But that's what he thinks. I don't think that was a canned statement. That's how he feels. So yeah, that was him just being honest. And it's sad. But we have nothing. Our business leaders are either failing us or moving out of the city. And we have politicians that have no clue what they're doing. And then others that do, they have their progressive agenda and they'll stop at nothing to get it. And also, too, the mainstream media got like dancing on people's graves. ABC 7. Wirtz's tenure was not without controversy. Last year, he apologized for comments related to the team's handling of sexual misconduct allegations. Why even bring that up?
Well, that's part of the.
They did the same thing to Bobby Hull when he died.
Well,
an old man making stupid statements.
Well, that's you. Oh, so now you're telling the left. So wait. So which is it? The left can make assessments of his handling of the sexual harassment allegations by that former player, and by the way, he fired Quenneville over it. Seems pretty clear.
And he did the right thing. He fired Quenneville.
Well,
Coach Q right away.
I don't think it was the right thing, but okay, if you think it's the right thing, just because he did it, why was it the right thing?
Because don't you think I think my personal opinion is that Coach Q knew about it, but other people disagree. They didn't want him to get fired. So I just I'm saying if he had an accomplished life and did well, they bring that up.
He made a public apology about a scandal. But that's also that is not off limits, or it is off limits. Everything's off limits, or just saying that people in positions of authority and influence are going to be subject to more scrutiny than people who are not. That's unfair. Oh, life's unfair. And I really actually don't think it's unfair. George in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Civic leaders who would think of making those small plans wouldn't work in our balkanized world. Everybody's out for their own piece of cheese.
Thanks for the call, George. The way that, I just have to go back to this. Let's all come together. Let's work together. This is the stuff. This is fodder for a kindergarten class. We don't hold politicians accountable, and we try to outsource that accountability to people who have the resources to effect accountability, and then they behave the same way that the electorate does. And you just want to focus on these terrible politicians that get elected and not the people who could do significant things to change the political power structure in the city and the state. And even, and I know, it's unfair. Yeah, it's so unfair. Life is. And even when they do, to the extent that they make the right choices, they do it in a sensible way. They do it in a thoughtful way, the same sort of thoughtful way in which they have found success in life through running businesses and so forth. And when that doesn't happen, you're supposed to just shrug your shoulders and say, hey, thanks for playing. No. What kind of standard of excellence is that? You're not allowed to assess the impact. Chicago is just this failed city, and Illinois is just this failed state, and it's nobody's fault. Everybody did their best. Everybody gets a trophy.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
Do you have over $10,000 in credit card debt? If you're feeling the financial impact with unprecedented economic challenges, DebtBlue is here for you. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved.
I'm just living sky high right now. I'm very thankful for it, and the team at DebtBlue are phenomenal. They're able to work with you. They're great.
Call for your free debt resolution information now. 800-200-6895. 800-200-6895.
Are you a business owner with a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, and a plan for growth, but you just need the right bank? Hi, Mike Gallagher here, letting you know that Signature Bank is all about going the distance for commercial banking customers. It's what Signature Bank does every day. Their team understands that accessibility is key to their culture. In times like these, you want a bank that is there for you to weather the bad times and capitalize on the good. And with Signature Bank by your side, you can't go wrong. It's a true partnership. That's why Signature Bank in Chicago is my bank. That's right, I'm a customer. I believe in what they have to offer, from innovative tech and customized solutions to help your business grow and thrive. Reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Call 773-467-5630, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
All right, at 6:06, now we will get to Tucker and Ice Cube in a car, staying in your lane. It's a little derivative, I think, Tucker, to do the car thing. But
they start singing car karaoke?
Yeah, they did all NWA's hits.
I thought so. All right, some storms this morning, otherwise hot and humid at 6 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
Hunter Biden will go to court today. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The president's son plans to plead guilty to 2 federal tax evasion misdemeanors and enter into a pretrial diversion program to avoid a felony charge of illegally possessing a gun as a drug user. But some Republicans call it a sweetheart deal.
House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Jason Smith filed a brief yesterday morning requesting that whistleblower information be considered in the judge's decision on this plea deal. Quote, the defendant appears to have benefited from political interference, which calls into question the propriety of the investigation of the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Fox's Brooke Singman. The judge is upset, demanding answers from Hunter Biden's lawyers, alleging one of them may have tried to get Congressman Smith's brief removed from the record. The Biden legal team denies that, calling it unfortunate miscommunication. There's news on Trevor Reed, the Marine veteran who was jailed in Russia until being freed in a U.S. prisoner swap last year. Well, he's now in a hospital in Germany after Reed was wounded in combat in Ukraine, where he went to help fight Russia's invasion. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says,
we have warned that U.S. citizens who travel to Ukraine, especially with the purpose of participating in fighting there, that they face significant risk.
A federal judge ruled against a Biden border policy that denies asylum to some migrants, but the judge kept it in effect pending appeal. The X-Files told us the truth is out there. Well, today there's a House hearing into UFOs after many close encounters with military and other pilots caught on video. Republican Congressman Tim Burchett will lead the hearing, tells the Fox News Rundown podcast.
We're not going to bring in a flying saucer or a little green man, but we literally have decorated veterans who are really just risking their whole careers by coming out, or, their legacy, more or less, to talk about these things.
2 former military pilots will testify. So will a former intelligence officer who claims the government may have an alien spacecraft in storage. America's listening to
77 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. More hot, steamy, fairly normal summer-like weather today. However, in central and southern Illinois, emergency cooling shelters will open there to help people beat the heat. Blackhawks owner Rocky Wirtz is dead at the age of 70. The team releasing a statement saying Wirtz' sudden passing yesterday came as a surprise to some. He took over the team in 2007 and the Wirtz empire, including rentals and a liquor distributorship, after the death of his father, and oversaw 3 Stanley Cup titles during his tenure. His son, Danny, is expected to take over ownership. Authorities are investigating after a pickup truck crashed into a grocery store in Antioch. Truck was traveling yesterday when it left the roadway and slammed into a food store. The driver hospitalized. No one in the store was hurt. Two brothers whose murder convictions were overturned are suing the city of Chicago Police Department. Reginald Henderson and Sean Tyler filed suits saying they were coerced into making false confessions by officers linked to disgraced former Commander John Byrd.
One thing that you can never get back is time. 25 years is gone. I can't get that back. Aside from that, the people who passed away cannot be brought back. What needs to be done is just justice.
The pair says detectives targeted them because Tyler had testified for the defense in a case the officers had handled in 1991. With the Chicago Bears pursuing more suburban options and owning a site in Arlington Heights, more sites want in on the team's likely move. And the Chicago Tribune reports this morning that now includes Richton Park. In a recent letter to the Bears president, Kevin Warren, Mayor Rick Reinbold touted 1,000 acres of available land and the south suburbs' proximity to highways and the Metra electric line. Cubs over the White Sox, 7-3. Dansby Swanson clouts a pair of home runs. Bears opening up training camp with a full roster today. The news a service of Cabino Environmental. Home and business owners use Cabino oil stain remover because it's the most powerful oil stain lifting formula on the market. Cabino oil stain remover is available at all 8 Rental Max locations. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The best conversations happen with a cigar in one hand and a fine drink in the other. Join Dennis Prager live in Chicago for Cigar Night on Thursday, August 24th at Klein Creek Golf Club in Winfield. Presented by Wilkins Mazda and Wilkins Hyundai in Elmhurst. Dennis will be joined by AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson for an evening of cigar smoking and good conversation. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Fox Valley Coins and by Blue Star Security.
What's the best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda? No, it's not voting Republican. A better option is to vote with your wallet. Democrats get easy votes by giving away newly printed money, but we can fight this never-ending scam by making use of physical gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. These special accounts allow you to preserve your retirement and help the country at the same time. Plus, you pay 0 penalties or taxes on the transfer. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold IRA company I trust, so text PROTECT to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Rick here from Forever Remodeling. You probably heard me talk about how our unique design-build process removes the normal problems of hiring a design and construction company separately. But just don't take my word for it. Listen to these customer reviews. Kelly W. says, from consultation to design to construction, my remodel flowed seamlessly. Adity J says, we were thrilled to have a full-service remodeling firm take all the guesswork out of our project. And Caesar V says, Forever Remodeling made what could have been a very stressful project extremely easy for us. They finished on time and did amazing work. Kitchens, bathrooms, basements, additions, whole house remodeling, whatever you need, our start-to-finish process delivers stunning results without the hassles, headaches, and stress. For a free consultation, call Forever Remodeling at 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com.
6:07. Let's get an update on the roads now. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And on the inbound Edens, 19 Lake Cook Road to the junction. Kennedy inbound 30 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Stevenson beginning to pile up between Ashland and the Dan Ryan. Dan Ryan inbound 14, 95th into the Circle interchange. Tri-State accident on the right-hand shoulder southbound at Everett Road. Worried about basement flooding? Time to call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Sunshine, clouds, and a couple of showers. Heavy thunderstorm today. That could bring some downpours, damaging wind, isolated tornado, high 94. Partly cloudy tonight, low 72. Partly sunny, hot, and humid tomorrow, the high again, 94. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
77 at O'Hare. Next news at 6:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We're talking about Rocky Wirtz and his passing and his legacy the first hour. It actually transitions more nicely than you might think to an odd Uber ride. Well, it wasn't really an Uber, limo ride that featured Tucker Carlson interviewing Ice Cube. He of NWA fame. It was a fun chat. I was hoping they do like an Ebony and Ivory Straight Outta Compton type thing.
Was there any singing involved? Car
No.
karaoke, which is so famous right now.
Yeah, and then Seinfeld with comedians in the car.
Comedian's car, and then Jay Leno has like coffee in cars, and
Yeah, this Tucker
the
thing.
guy thing. Let's
Stay in
go.
your lane, and I guess Tucker's going to have Ice Cube in studio too as he's doing interviews
Oh,
as
good.
part of his Twitter presence. But I mean, don't you think this is a little derivative? Like I said, the car thing. Come up with something different. Do something different. I don't know.
Well, all right.
Whatever. But Ice Cube is an interesting cat. We've
like
profiled some of the things he said on the show before. Among them, urging the black community, black Americans, to not be so one-sided in their political support. You know, the sort of old saw. When 95% of us are with one party, that party takes us for granted and the other party ignores us, and that's not benefiting us. That's essentially one of the things Ice Cube has said. He had this to say, though, about South Central L.A., where he grew up. Straight out of Compton. Tough neighborhood back then, tough neighborhood now, billions of dollars, and apply the same standard to L.A. All the civic leaders and all the politicians at the city and state level in California. And the results?
Politicians in Los Angeles have done running the city.
It's pretty much the same people running it the same way. Politicians only really pay attention to the people that give them money. Everybody else is kind of an extra in their movie. We love you in the scene, but we can do the scene without you. You know?
Yeah, I do. Do you ever give money to politicians?
No.
Why?
I don't believe in politicians. Politicians have hidden agendas. They owe a lot of people a lot of favors. The more money you give them, the more you're listened to.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
I love that last line. The more money you give, the more time they listen to you.
Yeah, his Hollywood metaphor of politics, anybody who's not a major donor is sort of an extra in a movie. It's nice that you're here, but we can do the scene without you. That's about right, I think. I think he's on it. Now, of course, it's sort of a populist, silly thing to say. I don't give money to politicians. I don't believe in politicians. Well, you believe in the representative Republican form of government that we have, right? You believe in a free society, so how would you govern it exactly? So as long as we're going to have this federalist system and a representative republic, we're going to be electing people at the local level, the state level, the federal the level. So sort of the non-participation is not as compelling to me. I mean, that's the easiest thing to say in the world, is say I could do it, but I don't want to do it because they're all crooks. Well, the art of politics, as Milton Friedman famously observed, is getting the wrong people to do the right thing. Do the right thing. Sort of a Spike Lee reference there. See what I did?
Yeah.
So I mean, it would be nice. Tucker was a little bit too much of a fanboy in this interview to like come back at Ice Cube and maybe prompt some additional thinking on the topic. So, well, how do you propose to improve conditions where you want to improve conditions, other than through different public policy? You just said the same people doing the same things, the same people governing the same way. Well, have you thought about how you think that could be changed? No, we didn't get there. But he also had this comment on Obama, and maybe the disappointment of the Obama years was the watershed moment for Ice Cube and for others when it came to getting beyond identity politics.
For the first time, I felt proud that America took that step.
Yep.
I didn't think they would ever do that. And so that was a moment in time. But then, you look around, years go by, and, not much change for people I know, people I care about.
And that disappointment leads Ice Cube to be a little bit more cagey than maybe a younger Ice Cube would have been when it comes to things like BLM and extolling the virtues of BLM, getting out his checkbook for BLM. Take a listen.
3 years ago, a bunch of big companies put hundreds of millions of dollars into Black Lives Matter. Threw them a lot of money. Did that improve the neighborhood you grew up in?
Whenever you do that, most of the time, it's a lot of people siphoning that money off the top.
Yeah.
And the kicker is a lot of people say they're going to give the money, but they don't even give the money.
They make the pledge and never write the check?
Yeah, they just get the article wrote. Everybody think they're great, and they never even give the money.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
At that point, I wanted him to name names. Like, who do you know that said that they were going to pledge this amount of money to BLM and then not pay up?
For sure.
It's perfect. The article's written. You look great. Your PR person's happy. Your publicist is happy. Your agent's happy. And then no money.
It's always nice to name names. I also would love to hear some of the names of the people that actually did donate so that you can go ask them if they thought they were financing multiple home purchases by Patrisse Cullors when they gave whatever they gave.
And what they got for their money. Would they do it again?
Right. What's your assessment of BLM's success? What did you hope the BLM organization and that movement was going to accomplish? And
have they accomplished it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or is it still a work in progress?
Well, I mean,
told me once. I'm like, well, I don't know what their main goal is.
Life is a work in progress. So what kind? So fine. It's not. It's okay. A journey without a destination. Sure. So how are they doing? Assess how much they're accomplishing, how much they're moving the needle in whatever direction you want the needle moved. There's just no conversations like that. It's always just this airy business of equity and fighting the fight and social justice this and truth to power that. And Ice Cube has the street sense to pick up on a racket when he sees one. It's interesting that the real thing that was, as I said, I wonder just how much impact that had. I wonder how many people have made a similar assessment and maybe are unwilling to say it out loud. I'm talking about black Americans. The promise of Obama as a symbol, and that's ultimately what what his legacy is. His legacy is he's a symbol. The promise of Obama that had to be recalibrated because things didn't improve. In fact, they deteriorated, particularly for those who he said were his core concern. That's what Ice Cube is saying. So now he just becomes a symbol of hope in that moment, but hope that wasn't realized. The dreams didn't come. The seas didn't recede, and so on and so forth, if you will. I wonder how many people believe that, but won't say it. There was also this exchange, and this is where Ice Cube, you may remember, during the COVID era recently concluded, although not really concluded.
It's not over yet, please.
The notoriety that Ice Cube got because he wouldn't get vaxxed. And so he lost a $9 million deal to do. Yeah, this was reported. He lost a $9 million deal. He was going to star with Jack Black in a comedy, but the producers required everybody get vaxxed, and Ice Cube said, I'm not getting vaxxed. So he walked away from a $9 million role. So Tucker and Ice Cube on the vax. And, well, just take a listen.
Why wouldn't you take the vax? You had a direct order to take it. You were told to take it.
Yeah, I'm not real good with direct orders, but on a whole nother note,
but it was a command.
I
mean, they told. I'm sorry, they told you. I mean, they couldn't have been clearer about it.
Yeah, it was pretty clear. Did you take it?
Of course not.
Yeah, no, it wasn't ready. You know, it was 6 month, kind of rush job, and I didn't feel safe.
But they told you were safe.
I know what they said. I know what they said, and I heard them. I heard them loud and clear. But it's not their decision. There's no repercussions if they're wrong. But I get all the repercussions if they're wrong.
Was it a tough call for you?
No, it wasn't a tough call. I wanted to be an example for my kids. Really make sure they didn't take it either. Show them that I wanted to stand on my convictions and that I was willing, to lose $9 million and more, because we've probably lost more, since then.
The idea is that people who stand on their convictions are heroes. They're brave. They have principles. They're the people we look to for inspiration. But in this case, with this decision and these principles, you were not hailed as a hero.
No.
You were attacked.
So why won't you get the vaccine, man? Hey, look, man, I'd just rather be myself than take that vaccine like you other 3 billion bozos.
I never
SNL
told
spoofing
anyone not to get vaccinated publicly. That was never my message to the world. I didn't even want people to know whether I got vaccinated or not. I was pretty upset that even came out, because I was just gonna quietly, just not take it and deal with the consequences as they came.
Do you know anyone who was injured by the vaccine?
I do, and they suffer every day, and it's hard to watch. Suffering in silence is not the answer all the time. Sometimes you gotta let people know what's going on so you can actually move the needle. I choose to be vocal. If it's true, why can't I say it?
Well, you can't say it because it is true.
There it is. Now, that's the problem with the world today.
There's no penalty for lying. No one's ever punished for lying. It's only telling the truth that gets you in trouble.
Ain't that something?
Ain't that something? Yeah, it is.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. I had not heard that before, that he lost a $9 million gig
Yeah.
because he wouldn't get vaccinated.
And
And
we're
that
all
was a Saturday Night Live spoof on him.
yeah, we're all probably better off for not having to endure the Ice Cube Jack Black comedy, whatever that was going to be. But
Maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
yeah, for us, not necessarily for him. It's still $9 million. But
Yeah.
regardless, yeah, the jab thing is interesting, especially against the backdrop of Bronny James, LeBron James's kid who collapsed at basketball practice.
Well, he did go to USC, and USC has vaccine mandates
Right.
that they still have in place, believe it or not. So, but we don't know. I just there's so many conspiracies out there. What happened to him, that he was double boosted. We don't know. No one. The James family hasn't spoken yet. I don't know his medical record. I think everyone should just maybe wait a bit, or not. Am I wrong, Dan?
It's interesting where you suggest that we wait and where you suggest we don't, because sometimes we're supposed to wait and sometimes we're not. You don't wait to ask questions. You wait to maybe draw conclusions, but not to ask questions. Bronny James, 2/3 of, as Alex Berenson wrote about this, 2/3 of teenagers in Southern Cal are vaccinated. So it's more likely than not that he is. LeBron James is vaccinated. Said he was.
Wonder if he's boosted.
Don't know, but I don't know if Bronny James's vax status, and I also don't know, like you say, what caused him to collapse, have this cardiac event, and thankfully he's okay. Sounds like, but it's okay. But when you have a rash of young people, young athletes, as we have talked about,
all over the world.
So why could we talk about all that and we can't talk about Bronny James? It's the same conversation. And it's the same questions. I don't know. I don't know what happened to that basketball player from the Dominican Republic who died of a cardiac event a few weeks ago that we talked about. I don't know.
Well, some of the healthiest people, the most elite athletes on the planet, are experiencing cardiac arrest in record numbers. And I don't know if that's because
And what we do know is that the vaccines do increase the incidence of myocarditis and pericarditis, which can lead to a cardiac event, particularly in young men. That's something we do know from scientific research. Does that mean that every case, that's the proximate cause? No, don't know. But here's the rub. The rub is, and the reason we ask the questions, is because no one is interested in getting the answers. Because the public health establishment and their press corps refuse to ask questions, refuse to publicize what we do know, because it doesn't fit the get your jab and shut up mandate.
Yeah. Text message. Amy LeBron said his whole family is vaxxed. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me. It still doesn't make a causal link for Bronny and what happened with him. But so that we know that, we'll take LeBron at his word. And does anyone want to find out? I'm not saying that LeBron James has a duty to disclose or anything like that. It's his kid's personal health and so fine. But when you see this incidents over and over again, forget getting the details about Bronny James. Fine. Leave the kids alone. Okay, sure. Public health officials. What do we know about these incidents that keep happening? Give us some context. Let's go to the VAERS reporting system. Let's ask the CDC. Let's ask NIH. Let's ask the FDA. Let's go get Dr. Hotez if he can pull himself off a CNN news desk for 5 minutes, and all of these other COVIDians, and have them lay out their case or concede points that are supported by science about the incidence of myocarditis, for example, in young men. And the risk associated with COVID for young men, because that's the real world choice. The risk associated with COVID, or the risks versus the risks associated with the vaccines and the heightened incidence of myocarditis. Which is greater? That's what I want to know if I'm a father. Which makes more sense for my kid? But that's an unreasonable question to the public health establishment. And that's why you have people talking about Bronny James. Because it's yet another high-profile incident that will go unexplained. so they don't have to explain the larger dichotomy that I just described. And that's not right.
Yeah, CDC doesn't want to admit that they were wrong and that the vaccine can kill people and has killed people.
Anthony, Arlington Heights.
Hey guys, good morning. Dan, I think you hit the nail on the head. I was with a coworker yesterday when the news about LeBron James' son came out, and he was so quick to say, "Oh, everyone's going to say it's the vaccine. People don't know athlete workouts," or "I remember kids dying all the time," and I'm thinking to myself, "Yeah, but could it have been?
All the time.
No, could it have not been? But you're going to now say, oh no, to quickly dismiss it. People are dying left and right, like you said, as young kids, my age, I'm 19. And this was not a normal thing. That's a bunch of crap, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone's so quick to dismiss it.
Thanks for the
I
call,
mean,
Anthony.
ancillary issue. He's lucky he was at USC at their practice facility because they had an AED right there, and the staff got on him right away.
Yeah.
And then they transported him to the hospital. He's in ICU for a while. Now he's in a regular room.
Well, we had that father on. I talked about my
Bob
friend Bert.
Snyder.
Bert Catoni, who's got that device.
Jenny's Mission. His daughter dropped dead in playing soccer at 17, and now they have portable devices on soccer fields.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is great.
Yeah, and right. As I said, my friend is involved in the business of providing those machines to sporting facilities and hospitals and corporate settings and everywhere else.
And
so
coaches
that's
know
great.
where they are.
So when Hank Gathers collapsed and died on the court, when Reggie Lewis collapsed and died on the court, we wanted to know. It's so jarring, and certainly to see it, so terrible. We want to know what happened. Was something missed? Obviously, back then, for those two athletes, it wasn't about the COVID vaccines. It was heart arrhythmia, undiagnosed heart defects, so on and so forth.
Yeah, but USC mandated that vaccine.
I understand. But
I'm just
yes.
saying,
But my point is to say you can't ask questions. Oh, you're going to say this. No, I'm not going to say anything. I just want to know, or I want some straight talk from people. Here we go again. Who are in power, who have influence, and what are they doing with it? It was okay for everybody to investigate and find out what happened to Hank Gathers, what happened to Reggie Lewis, and so many other examples. Those are just high-profile ones that come to my mind immediately. But it's not okay when we see other athletes dying today to say, what is there something that's just unique to those individual athletes? Is there something else going on? Is it the way that they're training, so on and so forth? Because, of course, parents are going to be concerned for their kids who are involved in athletics and which involve, serious exertion of energy and so forth. When the kid at Northwestern died from heat exhaustion on the football field, did we not want to know? Of course we did. And then there was litigation around it.
Yeah, and they stopped doing two-a-days.
But we don't want to talk about any of these cases. No, I don't think so. Tony in Riverside.
Good morning. My son's a professional minor league ball player. Of course, he was required to get vaccinated, and he also happened to be on a team that required them to get a booster. Shortly thereafter, he started having racing heart that he couldn't even sleep at night. I had him in ER. This kid's in unbelievable, fabulous shape. Never had an incident before. I've since put him on Dr. Peter McCullough's spike support. It's somewhat alleviated it, but he says he still has episodes. And when I took him to the emergency room, of course, there was no way when I asked the pointed question, because this was about a year and a half ago that I had him there, no way was it had anything to do with the vaccine. And I'm sorry, yes, it does.
Thanks for the call, Tony. I hope everything works out for your boy, not just with his health, but also, hope he gets to the majors. All right, coming up at 6:36, sorority consultants, Amy Jacobson's wheelhouse.
Uh-oh.
Sorority consultant, 6:36.
Sir, are you being serious?
I'm serious.
Okay, I'll be listening.
This could be a side hustle for you.
Oh, I like that. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
77 degrees at 6:32, more hot and steamy, but fairly normal summer weather this week. Over 50 pilot whales are dead, beaching themselves on the southern tip of Western Australia, and rescue teams are desperately trying to return whales to deeper water. The State Department says a former U.S. Marine who was previously imprisoned in Russia has been hurt while fighting in Ukraine.
U.S. officials are expressing that because of his actions, it may make it more difficult for the U.S. government to try to bring home 2 other Americans right now detained in Russia.
Trevor Reed is receiving medical care in Germany. A federal judge strikes down the Biden administration's new rules for asylum seekers at the southern border. Here's our Mark Mayfield.
The judge ruled against the new rule that allows immigration authorities to deny asylum to migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border if they did not first apply online or seek protection in a country that they passed through. The judge put the ruling on hold for 14 days for an expected appeal. The ACLU brought the lawsuit against the administration, arguing that the policy is unlawful. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Blackhawks owner Rocky Wirtz is dead at the age of 70. The team releasing a statement saying that Wirtz suddenly passed yesterday, but did not give any other details. His son and team CEO Danny Wirtz is expected to take over ownership. A UPS driver was shot Tuesday morning while delivering packages in Chicago's West Humboldt Park neighborhood. Chicago Fire tells us the 37-year-old driver suffered multiple graze wounds and is hospitalized in good condition. A lawsuit has been filed on behalf of 3 injured in an incident where a Jeep crashed into a Hinsdale sandwich shop. According to attorney Lou Cairo, 3 plaintiffs in that case sustained physical and emotional injuries when a Jeep crashed through the facade of that building. The legal complaint alleges 6 counts of negligence against Fuller Car Wash and Martin Contreras as father of Martin Contreras Jr. Contreras Jr. was an employee at the car wash at the time of the crash and was operating the Jeep that crashed into the shop. The largest union of Illinois state employees is signing off on a new contract. Governor Pritzker and AFSCME Council 31 announced ratification of a new taxpayer-funded 4-year deal. Bryce Hill is with the Illinois Policy Institute.
The private sector wage increases are not keeping up with this contract, which means taxpayers are going to see a larger share of their paycheck going towards subsidizing these pay raises in the AFSCME contract.
The giveaway agreement provides 18% pay increases, expanded parental leave, and new joint efforts to improve workplace safety, all with little or no negotiation. Dansby Swanson, a pair of home runs. Cubs 7-3 winners over the White Sox in the Crosstown Series at the rate. The news service of MyPillow. MyPillow employees want to thank you by giving you the lowest price in history on their MyPillows. Visit MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Sean Thompson Show.
There are millions upon millions of people of good character going to good states and low-rent Democrat scum going to Democrat states. After all, that's where they thrive. This is where this is acceptable. And it's being put as something that's normal. It's normal now to be an outright thief, scumbag, traitor to your country.
The Sean Thompson Show. Weekday afternoons at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, Chicago, do you like great seats? How about on-field pregame access? What if it was free?
Now we got your attention. We are proud to bring you the Wintrust Crosstown Series. Whether you're a Cubs or Sox fan, Wintrust wants you to have an unforgettable fan experience. Enter the Wintrust Crosstown Series sweepstakes for your chance to win great seats and pregame on-field access. Go to wintrust.com/crosstown. Chicago's Bank, getting Chicago's fans to the game. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp. Banks. See official rules at wintrust.com/crosstown-rules. Member FDIC.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I love it very much because I do notice if I don't take it on a regular basis, I have less energy because I'm always on the road driving and I take care of people's dogs, so I expend a lot of energy all the time. I do feel a difference. And I'm always telling everybody about take Balance of Nature, take Balance of Nature. And the fiber and spice is really great. You know, sometimes when you're on the road all the time and you don't eat right and stuff, I take that and it's wonderful. It's very good.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
6:39. Let's get an update on the roads, a service of Audible. Boost your imagination with Audible. Listen to the biggest selection of audio entertainment, from memoirs to motivation and more. There is more to imagine when we listen. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com. Inbound Kennedy jams solid right now. Austin to Montrose, 50 minutes in to the Circle Interchange. Ike in 42-390 to the old post office. Stop and go traffic inbound on 55 between the Veterans Toll Road and Lamont Road due to an accident on the right-hand shoulder. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. We'll have some sun today, breezy and humid, couple of showers, maybe a heavy thunderstorm, and a high of 94. 77 right now. Next news coming up at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
'Cause they got the beat, the campus beat, the campus beat. Yeah, the campus beat.
In this installment of Campus Beat,
Yes, sir.
my boyfriend went to Stanford, and he said, this is more complicated than getting a Stanford MBA, one young woman said. And that young woman is talking about getting into a sorority, which has spawned a cottage industry of sorority consultants.
I see my future right now. This is my side hustle.
Did
This is what I have been born to do.
Did you have, were there sorority consultants back in your days at Iowa?
Dana, my family
When you were one
was-
of the girls of the Big Ten?
No, I turned that down, but I was on the Women of Iowa calendar 2 years in a row. Thank you. No, my family was all sorority driven. My grandma was a Kappa Kappa grandma. My great grandma was a house
She was a
mom.
Kappa Kappa grandma?
She was Kappa Kappa grandma, but since she was my grandma, we called her Kappa Kappa grandma.
Clever.
My sister was a Kappa, so I had, and my other sister was a Tri-Sig at Eastern, so I was they consulted me on what to wear, what to do.
Oh, so they were
how to say, no,
unpaid ad hoc consultants.
Yeah, well, because they're your sisters, so you
Right.
don't have to pay them for advice. But
Well.
yeah, and then I would tell my other friends that were going through a sorority, like, this is what you should wear, this is how you should act. You know, you could be more yourself on pref night. Pref night is when you choose 3 sororities, and then they either choose you, you choose them, you see what's a match, and then boom.
Let me put you to the test here.
Okay. Did I lose you already?
I did sort of.
You did go to your
I did
happy
sort of
place.
fade out. I started thinking about Brian Harmon at the British Open last weekend.
It was a good round.
So what do you do to in terms of your makeup to accommodate for southern humidity? Say you're rushing. Say you're rushing.
Like Georgia Tech, or even it's hot out there.
Yeah. Say you're rushing
Ole
lambda in Georgia. Yeah, Georgia Tech. What do you do? What do you do there?
Well, you got to bring a powder puff, and so if you start sweating, you have to get out, excuse yourself, go to the bathroom, and then powder your face as much as you can to soak up the sweat.
Is that it?
But you have to wear the right clothes because you don't want to have swamp. You know what?
Is that it with respect to the makeup?
Well, you don't want to be too heavy on the makeup.
Well, I don't know.
Am I wrong?
Trisha Addix is the president of All Greek to Me. She recommends keeping a rush bag with deodorant, portable fan, water, and face powder. Yeah.
Why does my mic keep going out?
I don't know.
It's so annoying.
So you have to have a program.
Yes.
Would you hire a sorority consultant for your daughter or son? 312, if he's at Wyoming, University of Wyoming. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. I mean to tell you, last year, 125,000 women sought a spot in sororities at the 500 campuses that provide data to the National Panhellenic Conference. Between 20 to 25% of them either quit or did not get accepted.
Ooh.
So
well,
that's a lot of girls that are
Couldn't
going
get
to
in.
have complexes.
Yeah,
I
I was a
guess.
rush counselor my senior year, and it's really hard because you're always going to have one or two girls that get nothing, and they're just devastated. But then you have to tell them, there's other ways you could survive.
It's not you, it's me. It's not you, it's us.
The bridge is that way.
All 150 of us. it's us. It's not you.
I don't even remember what soundly advice I gave them. I said, well, you can still, if your friends are in sorority and you're not, they're going to have date parties and dances that they could take you to.
There's always
and I'm
Alpha
pretty
Mu
right.
or something,
We
right? Alpha Mu, Revenge of the Nerds. All right.
Yeah.
There's
But it's a big. How much would I get paid if I was a?
Well,
Give me
it's
some
a great
digits,
question
please.
here. Leighton Newberry is the owner of Recruitment Ready in Atlanta. She spends a lot of time prepping young women for conversation. Oh my God, that must be taxing.
That's got to be. Well, people have been buried in their phones and their iPads and been away from people because of COVID. It is really hard or difficult, I should say, to have a conversation because a lot of them, they don't even look at you. So I always tell, players or people, I'm like, hey, make eye contact when you're talking to an adult. That's a starter.
I can't imagine. I mean, first of all, even pre-COVID,
well, you have to be
having
interesting. And if you're not
conversation
interesting, you have to fake your way into being interesting.
well, I mean, yeah.
Well, if you're not funny, if you don't have the funny gene, you just don't have it. Am I wrong? Am I right?
Well, none of. I mean, they're women.
Dan, that's so.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my, so misogynistic of you.
Miss Newberry, all the hours young people spend texting and communicating over social media,
Mm-hmm.
as you said, has left many inexperienced with face-to-face chat.
Thank you.
She advises her clients to make eye contact, stay engaged with new acquaintances, and she suggests asking questions like this.
Oh, please. Do you want me to answer? Can I ask you these questions and then you answer them?
I want you to guess what the questions are. To hear some conversation starters.
So where are you from? What did you do in high school? What activities did you participate in? What was your greatest challenge in life?
Where are you from is on the board.
Okay, am I right?
Uh-huh.
What is your greatest challenge been so far in your life? Or
No,
is that
but
a little too deep for a sorority.
Those are all the perfectly banal questions I would anticipate. Yeah. Why did you pick this school?
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh yeah, boy, you could talk for hours about
Hour. I mean,
riveting. Man.
what else is on there?
So you asked
Where
about
you from?
yeah. I mean, yeah. Right. If you were a popsicle, what flavor would
Oh,
you be?
dear Lord.
What you wanted to know what kind of cash we're talking about here? This Newberry chick in Atlanta has a la carte sessions that cost $150 for video calls, $175 for in person.
Oh my God.
She also sells the bid day bundle.
The bid day, not the midday, the bid day. Oh, yeah, bid day.
Yeah, bid
Got
day
it.
when you
Bid when you find out.
right for $1,000. That includes 3 one-on-one sessions and assistance writing resumes and cover letters, as well as styling tips. She also gives a frank talk about disappointment. Life is full of it, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
If this is the worst thing that happens to you, you're going to have an okay life.
Yeah,
I did tell
exactly.
them that too.
Now, Lori Stefanelli is the owner of Greek Chic in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
$2,000 for her fabulous and chic package that includes 4 sessions on applications, social media, and wardrobe, along with round-the-clock counseling during rush week.
That's not bad.
There's another one. Hiking in high heels. That's Stacia Dameron
Oh, that's brutal. I saw those
in
girls
Texas.
last year at Georgia Tech when they were trying to walk around in their high heels and their stilettos on those hills. Got to wear gym shoes. In that rush bag, I'd put some flip flops or gym shoes in there, and then trade out before you go in the house.
She
That's my advice. How
she's-
much do I get paid for that?
Well, that's a part of the program. It's part of the Amy Jacobson
Bid day
bid
bundle?
day package bundle. Bid day bundle. Yeah. All right. So
Don't have a face tattoo, and if you do, cover that up.
So is this right? Was this how it was when you were rushing?
Oh yeah.
Getting into sororities, applicants write essays, give GPA, report whether they did volunteer work, played high school sports. Women submit application packets with as many as 30 letters of recommendation, according to the hiking and high heels owner, who said she charges as much as $4,000 for on-call service during rush.
On-call service.
She says women should erase images of themselves in very skimpy outfits or with alcohol.
Good luck with that. Yeah, well, yeah, on every social media platform. I agree with that.
Yeah. And should pile up posts about family, friends, hobbies, and volunteer work. In other words, disguise who you really are.
Exactly.
That's the key to getting in. And then everybody gets to take off their masks once they're accepted.
Yeah, once they're accepted.
And what kind of hazing was there? Was there like a car wash like Northwestern football?
Didn't have car wash. Well, they don't do this anymore, but they used to kidnap us in the middle of the night from our dorms because my roommate, who I love, Tracy was her name, from Hazleton, Iowa, and she said they're gonna come and get you. They told me to unlock the door.
Right, and
So
then
I got nervous.
then they lock you in a library
put you-
and make you read Dostoevsky.
No, then they blindfolded me, and then we went to some open field. There were other pledges with me, and they made us walk out onto the field, and they said, now you got to go cow tipping because we were with a bunch of cows. But then they were joking around like, you can't tip over a cow. We're kidding. So then we got back in the car. I had to
Hilarious.
They're
so funny.
I had to put the blindfolds back on, and then they drove us to the Fiji house, and all their pledges. I think it was 4 or 5 in the morning. All their pledges they were going through.
Isn't Fiji a drug house?
It's different on every campus. All right, so they're all wearing their purple shirts. They look like death warmed over because they've been up for 4 nights.
Doing drugs.
No, it's part of their rush. That's part
Oh.
of their ritual. And they said, all right, ladies, because there was 3 of us. Now you got to go in the kitchen and make all of them breakfast. And I went,
Oh my God!
Oh my-
It's so misogynistic. How dare you?
then they're joking about that because
Oh my!
how am I going to scramble eggs for 52?
When do the jokes end? It is what I mean. It's
No.
Monty Python quality.
Are you ready for this?
Oh God!
Then they had us perform.
When
a
does the
dance.
murder suicide happen?
Then they had us perform a dance in front of all their 50 pledges.
But just kidding.
No,
Oh,
we
you
actually did the
did.
dance.
Oh,
we
you
had to
did.
do the Al, the key, the fleur de lis stands for KKG, and do the dance. And then they drove us home. It was. I mean, I can't believe I survived. But now they don't let them do that.
You can't believe you survived. They take you to field and say, you don't have to do what we said you have to do. They take you to some other place. You don't have to do what we say you should do. Make
And they
make
made
a
us
meal. And
dance.
then you made a dance, which is all that you did for 4 years in Iowa anyway. What? Okay.
well, I just
not
walked you
exactly
through my
varsity
hazing.
blues. Well, that's
And
not.
I can't even tell you what they did to Andrew, Peyton at GT, because they had some they had some hazing. And most of it is sleep deprivation. They keep you up, all at all hours of the night and make you do things, which I'm not going to disclose here.
Yeah, I don't know that we want to hear?
I don't want to know. You
Well,
don't want to.
some
You don't
people
want to hear
probably
that
wanna hear.
somebody put that your son through that. You know?
Hmm. And then for the last cut,
Yeah.
what
that's
they
the
make
worst.
they make everybody get together and try and do a New York Times crossword puzzle. Is that's real hazing?
Pref night is the worst. Midnight and just seeing, you get three chances or three sororities you go to, and you see what is the best fit. It's hard, and you have to dress up in formal gowns. And
Why?
There's tears.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like when I was at the Tridal
Endless
House,
stream.
she made me put a pearl in a fountain. And she's like, "We hope you choose Tridal."
This is where they got the show, the Bachelorette show, right?
Yeah, they call you up and here's a pearl, and we really hope that you come to be a Tridal, which I did love the
Do you
Tridal
take
House.
that? Do you take that outside to like a reflecting pool?
You walk up to they have a fountain inside their sorority that they bring in for prep, and you have to drop the pearl in the water and watch it. It's so stupid.
Wow.
You would have died.
It sounds.
I
Yeah.
prep tried out 80 Pie, and
Sounds
80
very
Pies were cool.
poignant.
80 Pies were the coolest cats on campus. They weren't, they didn't make you cry or try.
Is that AO pie or is that different?
AD Alpha Delta Pi.
Is AO pie?
AO Pie's big in the South. We don't have them at a lot of Big Ten schools.
You know what they call AO pie at U of I?
What? Oh, are you going to be rude? What?
Should I say it?
Just say it. Is
Well, I mean, just
it's
saying.
not one of those 7 swear words.
I'm not
right?
saying no. I'm not saying I agree. I have no idea. How would I know? But I'm just saying I know this is one of the mean things that people do.
All right, what?
AO pie.
Yes.
Animals on parade.
So rude. So unbecoming.
You didn't have any? Did you have any nicknames like that for fraternity?
We were Kappa Kappa Granola because we were all crunchy, and a lot of the girls followed the dead and wore like burlap sacks. And
Very attractive.
but their Kappa Kappa credit card and other, their
Kappa
rich-
Kappa
oh,
credit
This is
card.
what I was going to tell you. So I
Alright.
met some Kappas from Arizona State last week at a party, and they told me that they had girls from California go to Arizona State to get into the Kappa house so then they could transfer to the Kappa house at USC and UCLA because they knew they wouldn't get in. So they started out at Arizona State and then transferred. That's how important a sorority was to them, that they were willing to do that. Isn't that kind of crazy?
I think so. I mean, obviously, I was not in a fraternity.
Oh, yeah, what was the first clue?
and
You nonconformist person?
and I've never like been to a sorority or like a sorority
You haven't
mixer.
been to a oh,
No.
Dan. Have you been to a frat party? Oh, boy.
Yeah, I think I was at one at Northwestern.
Oh, my.
I didn't care for it. So
'Cause
then
you're the
I went
smartest
back.
person in the room.
I went back to with Poindexter and we played chess.
Or Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Which one was it?
Janelle, Western Springs, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Oh, hey, I'm Jan Amy. So, Amy, I have 3 girls. 2 went to Iowa. I have a third there now, but they're all in different sororities. We had one at Chi Omega,
Love them.
and one was at Gamma Phi, and now I have a Theta, who's like Chi Omega Light, I guess they call it.
Chi Omega Light.
She's a Theta?
Yeah, they call it Chi Omega Light, but we were not going to tell her that. The older one won't share. But
those are all great
yeah,
sororities.
It's changed a lot. Thank you. It's changed quite a bit, but yeah, they don't.
Yeah,
do
it's
any of
changed.
that.
It's changed a lot. I could get into a sorority now. That's
Yeah, you
that's
do.
how much it's changed.
But your daughters weren't hazed at all, were they?
Oh God, no! Are you kidding? No, there's no such thing anymore. There would be lawsuits. No. They can't do any of that. It's no fun. The cow tipping sounds like a blast, but you are young enough.
It was
that
a
they
joke
start-
about cow
start
tipping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you didn't actually do it, right?
No.
No, but there were cows out there, and we're like, what? We're looking at them with cow tipping.
Right,
okay.
you're thinking about it.
You're lucky the cows didn't turn the tables and tip you over.
I know. That's what, we're lucky there wasn't a bull out there.
Thanks, Janelle.
Oof. But it was
Frank-
dairy cows, so we were fine.
Frank in Arlington Heights.
Hey, good morning. Much of the show today has been about silliness, sororities and the sorority consultants and people not wanting to ask questions about, I guess, Bronny James having this episode. I mean, and just the general sports. I mean, we were talking about Rocky Wirtz before, but sports, why is sports so big? What sort of ontological angst does this nip in the bud for people, or does this help people? I don't get it. I never went to any frat parties, Dan, at all when I was in college.
We should have hung out.
Never have guessed.
Yeah.
We should have.
We should have hung out.
Frank,
and
where
played
did you
Dungeons
go
and
to
Dragons.
college?
In the area, I commuted. I'll just say that.
You're so
It's a-
secretive.
it's
I mean, really,
it's
you won't tell us where
undisclosed.
you work.
It's
You won't
these-
tell us where you went to college.
We can triangulate and we can find out where Frank is and send a team.
Yeah, in DuPage County somewhere.
Oh.
So very good school. Well, it was. Now it's not. Now it's gone.
You know, Frank, this is great. You actually could be a sorority consultant because here's the thing. You just say a conversation starter. Go into what was your sorority again?
Kappa Kappa Gamma.
Kappa Gamma. Those are the hot chicks. Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
yes.
Yes.
Hot.
And say, has anybody considered what the ontological benefits of being a member of this house are? You know, and see how that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be
do we have time to take Christine?
All right, Frank, you're done.
Bye, Frank. You're boring.
Nice. Yeah, this sorority talk. I mean, we do 4 hours of sorority talk. Christine in Rogers Park.
Hi, I was in a sorority at Indiana University, and there was a girl on our dorm floor. She was a legacy by grandma, mother, and sister to 3 of the best sororities: Tryouts, Kappa Kappa Gamma, and Pi Phi. She didn't get a bit in either of them, and she was a legacy. So she transferred to the University of Michigan, but she was a bore. She probably just didn't interview well.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks for the
That's
call.
rough.
Boy.
And that's when you got to call your lady counselor to come in and lick your wounds for you.
I'm telling you, put out a shingle.
All right.
I think this could be a moneymaker for you. Just the way you hear people talk about it still.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing is silly, but what do I know?
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:07, we're going to talk a little Russia-Ukraine with a Russian journalist who was expelled from the country. So 7:07.
And Hunter Biden heads to court. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Blackhawks owner Rocky Wirtz passes away. 2 brothers are suing CPD, and the Bears begin training camp practice today. WIND Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
President Biden's son goes to federal court in 2 hours. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and Hunter Biden plans to plead guilty
to 2 misdemeanor counts of failing to pay income tax. He's also reached an agreement with prosecutors to enter a diversion program for owning a firearm while also a drug user.
Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House adds there is some new drama. Republican Congressman Jason Smith filed a brief urging the judge to consider IRS whistleblower allegations of political interference in the case, benefiting the president's son.
Not long after the brief was filed, the judge's office claims a member of Hunter Biden's legal team reportedly claimed to be calling from another law firm asking for the document to be removed over privacy concerns.
Now, Biden's lawyers deny that, calling it unfortunate miscommunication. Rudy Giuliani, former President Trump's ex-lawyer, admits in a late-night court filing claims he made that 2 Georgia election workers committed fraud in 2020 were false. Those 2 sued Giuliani for defamation, but he claims his untrue allegations are constitutionally protected speech. Trevor Reed is hospitalized in Germany. He's the Marine veteran freed from Russia in a prisoner swap last year. Reed was wounded in Ukraine, where he went to fight Russia's invasion. There's also an update on a former U.S. soldier also released in a prisoner swap.
U.S. District Judge Reggie B. Walton has vacated the conviction and sentence of Bo Bergdahl, the former Army sergeant who walked off a base in Afghanistan in 2009 and was held captive by the Taliban for 5 years before being released in a prisoner swap that resulted in political controversy.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. In 2 hours, the House will hold a hearing on UFOs. Congressman Tim Burchett will lead it, and the Republican tells Fox it's time the government tells us the truth.
I think there's a great deal of arrogance. Why aren't they releasing the Kennedy files on the assassination? It's 60 years ago.
Military pilots who've had close encounters will testify. So will an ex-Intel officer who claims there may be alien spacecraft in storage. America's
76 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago, more hot and steamy weather, fairly normal for summertime here. Heat indices could top that 100-degree mark. Air quality will be impacted almost statewide. Blackhawks owner Rocky Wirtz is dead at the age of 70. The team releasing a statement announcing Wirtz's sudden passing yesterday. His son and team CEO Danny Wirtz is expected to take over ownership. Authorities are investigating after a pickup truck crashes into a grocery store in Antioch. The driver taken to the hospital. No one inside the store was hurt. A UPS driver was shot Tuesday morning delivering packages in Chicago's West Humboldt Park neighborhood. UPS worker was hit by gunfire around 11 a.m. Chicago Fire says the 37-year-old driver suffered multiple graze wounds and was hospitalized in good condition. Mayor Johnson and federal officials assessing flood damage to homes on Chicago's west side.
We need every single resident in the city of Chicago who has been impacted by this storm to call 311 and to make sure that there's a full assessment of their damage.
Federal and state emergency management agency is assessing, and that is the first step to getting a federal disaster proclamation.
We are doing everything we can now to validate those damages to go for the eligibility with FEMA.
Governor has issued a disaster proclamation for several Illinois counties. More than a year ahead of the Democrat National Convention in Chicago, a peace agreement has been hammered out with union leaders. Jamie Harrison is with the DNC.
Sometimes you come into the cities that are hosting the convention, and there are a lot of internal dynamics.
The agreement means unions will not strike during the convention, including setup and event teardown. Chicago sports, Dansby Swanson a pair of home runs, leading the Cubs to a 7-3 win over the White Sox.
I just love the way we pass the baton, just at bat to at bat. Guys having selfless at bats, whether it's moving runners or giving themselves up to, like belly down sac fly, and Nico obviously with some great base running.
Cubs are on a 4-game win streak. Same two teams later on tonight. The news, a service of Tom Mirabali Insurance. No matter the time of year, you can purchase a PPO health insurance plan that eliminates the mandatory maternity coverage. Get started at healthplanchicago.com. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Bidenomics is working.
We got front runners.
This is just another hoax.
We got up and comers.
All options are on the table. Something has to give.
People of every background.
We got scandals.
Like Mama Jones said, someone's lying.
And the election season is just getting started. Keep up with all of it on Chicago's election station, AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Amanda Zanger, owner of Black Industrial and Safety Supply in Hammond, Indiana, and a business customer of Signature Bank. Prior to owning my own business, I worked for a major financial institution. So when it came time to finance the acquisition of Black, I approached a big bank, only to receive a solid no. That's when Signature Bank stepped in. With Signature Bank, the process was different. Signature provided creative financing options that enabled me to purchase Black and continue to grow the business. Thanks to Signature Bank, Black Industrial is able to continue serving Fortune 500 industry fabricators and contractors with tools and safety supplies as we have since 1893.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
What's the best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda? No, it's not voting Republican. A better option is to vote with your wallet. Democrats get easy votes by giving away newly printed money, but we can fight this never-ending scam by making use of physical gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. These special accounts allow you to preserve your retirement and help the country at the same time. Plus, you pay zero penalties or taxes on the transfer. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold IRA company I trust, so text PROTECT to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
Within 3 days of starting it, I noticed a big difference in my energy level. Like I was able to take the dog for a walk to the mailbox. It made a tremendous difference, and I don't take daily naps anymore. I can pin it down to 3 full days on, and on the 4th day, it was like I was a new person. Even my friends have noticed my energy level is different.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
It is 7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that, of course, in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Right now, we are seeing delays on the inbound Edens, 19 minutes, Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy is at a full hour now from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike, 51 minutes, 390 into the old post office. Stevenson, an accident left shoulder near Lamont Road, 47 in to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. I-80, an accident in Will County, eastbound at Briggs. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Times of clouds and sun, shower and a heavy thunderstorm today. Could bring some downpours, damaging wind, isolated tornado, high 94. Partly cloudy tonight, low 72. Partly sunny, hot and humid tomorrow, the high again 94. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560.
Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Russian perspective on Russia and Ukraine. This is interesting. It's a new book called War and Punishment. Crime and Punishment, takeoff perhaps. Putin and Zelensky and the Path to Russia's Invasion of Ukraine. It's written by a Russian journalist named Mikhail Zybar, who is a scholar and a badass, according to his bio, which is a nice twofer.
You got to put that on yours now.
I should. Former frontline combat journalist, founding editor of Dost, the only independent TV station in Russia. And then he was asked to leave, I suspect not politely, after being labeled a foreign agent, forced to flee Russia. He has been covering Ukraine for 2 decades, and he joins us now. Mikhail Zybar, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hello.
Thanks for having me. I read a review of your book. I haven't gotten to the book itself yet, I'm afraid, but I understand it starts with a guilty plea from you. I am guilty. What are you guilty of?
I'm speaking. I've written the book about different myths of Russian culture and about the responsibility of Russian culture and Russian history, Russian historians, because there is a huge debate now between the Ukrainians and Russians whether Russian imperialist history is also to blame for what's now happening in Ukraine, and obviously that's true. Obviously, Russian history has been falsified and has been used as a tool of propaganda for many centuries, and Putin is now trying to justify this brutal aggression using the myths from Russian history.
Okay, and so, but so this guilty plea is to say what?
Yeah,
to say we were too.
Yeah, that's a guilty plea on behalf of Russian culture and Russian intellectuals, Russian journalists, because we probably should have done more. We should have started fighting against Russian imperialism much earlier than we did. We did not consider Russian imperial history as a threat, as a deadly threat to our neighbors and to Russian people as well. Mostly to Ukrainian people, most of all.
If Putin was not revanchist in his disposition, would your position change at all? What if he was just concerned with matters domestic? He's still former KGB, and as he's proven, it's tough to take the KGB out of the boy, isn't it?
I think that's a bit too simplistic approach. He was not a successful KGB officer. He was much more a bureaucrat, but there were a lot of different factors that shaped his personality. He was working in St. Petersburg in the 90s when that was pretty much a gangster city, and so gangster influence to his psychology is also very important. At the same time, he's inherited that very imperialist approach from the parents of his closest friends, and I describe that influence in my book, that occasionally fathers of two of his closest friends were very well-known Soviet historians, academicians, and they were specializing on one of them on history of Crimea and another one on American history, and he wrote a lot of books about CIA conspiracy against Soviet Union and against Russia.
Now, in your estimate, who's winning the war right now? And do you think Ukrainians will ever regain access of Crimea?
I'm not a military specialist, so it's very hard to predict how this war will end militarily, because it's a political issue. This war is going to be over once Putin is gone. So, and it's impossible to finish it until he's in Kremlin. But his strategy is to wait for American presidential election, and that's obvious. He's really expecting that the whole situation, the whole geopolitical situation, will change once he hopes Donald Trump is going to be back in the White House, and Putin is sure that the time is on his side. He's not expecting any substantial change on the front line within the next year.
What's your assessment of the West's response, America and the EU's response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine?
I think the Western support to Ukraine is crucial and it's necessary, and I think it was a bit slow because no one was expecting that Ukraine was able to resist Russian aggression. And at the time, it's really important for the West not to stop and not to have any doubts in the necessity of this war, because Ukrainians should prevail. They should this war, and that's a matter of the future security for Ukraine, for Eastern Europe, and for Russia as well. Because only after Putin's departure, any kind of democratic future for Russia is possible. And I still believe that Russia is not doomed to remain a brutal dictatorship and to remain the empire. I think that this war is the final accord of that empire.
Well, there's been a lot of reports over the many months now this war has dragged on about internal dissension in Putin's ranks, even alleged assassination attempts. What sort of control does he have over Russia right now, militarily and culturally? How much dissension, whether covert or overt is really present?
I would say that's a bit of exaggeration. That there were some real assassination attempts.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm saying what was reported. I'm not saying it's true.
Yeah. He's safe, but actually he is really weakened after the recent mutiny organized by once his right-hand man Yevgeny Prigozhin, the owner of the Wagner Group. Because before that uprising, Putin was considered to be the only person to have everything in his control. He was perceived as the only guarantor for stability in Russian bureaucracy. And now it's obvious that the emperor is naked. It's obvious that he could not control even his inner circle. And for the bureaucracy, for the elites, that's a clear signal that they have to prepare for his departure. That he cannot really control the situation, although he's still. He's not a lame duck, but he's going to become one probably within the next year.
What about the body count he's piling up? You know, when Americans come home in boxes in big numbers, like in Vietnam, it changes public opinion and it makes continuing the war untenable, as it did. What is that dynamic like in Russia?
Probably that would be important, but the war is we see that war only for a year and a half. That's enough time for many people to understand everything what's happening. But most people are really scared because there is no free media and there is a real military censorship. So it's impossible. Any independent reporting within Russia, inside the country, is just impossible. At the same time, the system of conscription is really different from region to region. So most recruits going to the front line are recruited from the most poor and depressive regions of Russia, and they are being paid a lot of money, quite sufficient for those regions. So it's the situation is very complicated. There are no soldiers, for example, going to the war from Moscow or St. Petersburg or other successful regions, but from far regions in Siberia, quite a lot. So it's very uneven, and probably the reaction in the public opinion is going to be very uneven.
In 1983, when Alexander Solzhenitsyn accepted the Templeton Prize in London, in the speech he gave, he said this: "More than a half century ago, when I was still a child, I recall hearing a number of older people offering the following explanation for the great disasters that had befallen Russia. Their explanation: men have forgotten God. That's why all this happened." And he said then in 1983, from the ruinous Bolshevik Revolution to the present, the existence of the Soviet Empire at the time, he said, I'm quoting him again, "I could not put it more succinctly than to repeat, men have forgotten God. That's why all this has happened." Is that still a salient observation about Russia today?
Alexander Solzhenitsyn is a very controversial figure if we look at him right now. He used to be the ardent dissident who was fighting against Soviet regime, but at the same time by most other liberal dissidents, he was criticized as Russian imperialist and Russian nationalist. And now we see that his ideology and his writings are being used by Vladimir Putin, and the latest article written by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. In that article, he declared that Ukraine should always remain the part of Russia. So it's very hard to consider Solzhenitsyn for now as the some kind of moral authority for Russian population, because yes, and unfortunately his legacy is very compromised, at least in terms of offering some kind of path for Russian for the future of Russia.
Well, okay, but even if I concede that point, what about his observation? You can attack the messenger. What about the message?
Russia is a very secular country.
Right, exactly.
I do not consider the fact that Russia is not religious country to be the core of this problem.
Although you started out with you start your book with an apology, and it's apology related to Russian culture. So what allowed the propagandist culture that you described, that you're apologizing for, to take hold? Is it not that the state became, the state supplanted the faith in Russia? I mean, much as we're seeing in the West too. So I'm not singling out Russia, but it's interesting. You make a cultural indictment, but you won't recognize the biggest shift in Russian culture over the centuries, and that is one from Orthodox Christianity to godless communism.
Orthodox Christianity is still very very in power in Russia, and President Putin claims that he is Orthodox Christian, and the Russian Orthodox Church is very active these days in its support for the war. Russian Patriarch Kirill is praying for the victory of Russian troops.
Yeah, but that's like what happened in all totalitarian societies, with the church gets folded into the state, just like the economic sector does. I'm talking about when it was really it was in the hearts of the people, not political religious leaders.
Maybe not only the messenger compromised, but also the message. When the whole church starts being compromised. Yeah, unfortunately, Russian Orthodox Church is not viewed as the center of spirituality, but it's viewed as the corrupted, state-owned or state-affiliated corporation that supports the power.
Right.
So probably, if we are talking about God, it's not the same God that you might be speaking about, and it's not the God of Russian Orthodox Church.
He is Mikhail Zyba. He's a Russian journalist, scholar, and a badass, as we understand it. From Frontline Combat Journalist, founding editor of Dost, the only independent TV station in Russia. He was labeled a foreign agent by the government and forced to flee Russia. He's got a new book out that we were discussing. War and Punishment is the name of the book. War and Punishment, Putin, Zelensky, and the Path to Russia's Invasion of Ukraine. Mikhail Zyba, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century with IoT Smart Connected Scanning. It's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
It's the Season of Discovery sales event at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Dan Proft here. If you're looking for a new or pre-owned Mazda, you need to visit Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. You find the Mazda you want, and the price you see is the price you get. There's no games, no gimmicks. Right now is a great time to buy a new Mazda with limited time incentives that only come around once a year. You can lease a 23 Mazda CX-30 for $412 a month, or a 2023 Mazda CX-5 for $410 a month. That's 36 months with approved credit through Mazda Capital Services for qualified buyers. You just add the license, title, tax, and $324.24 doc fee to that number, those numbers. Plus, stop in today and ask about the all-new 2024 Mazda CX-90. And keep your Mazda running great all year round by scheduling your next service appointment online at WilkinsMazdaCars.com. That's WilkinsMazdaCars.com. Wilkins Mazda is conveniently located in Elmhurst off York Road and 290, just minutes from Oak Brook, downtown, and Schaumburg. Experience the next level of excellence at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Visit WilkinsMazdaCars.com and see dealer for details.
Cable news. Noisy, out of touch, on repeat. Tired of all the lookalikes? So are we. Salem News Channel is here to change the game. Streaming 24/7, free on your TV with the greatest collection of conservative voices. Home to Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Like you, we say what's wrong and what's right. Unfiltered and unapologetic. Salem News Channel. We're the answer to the mainstream media. Learn more at snc.tv.
Hi, this is Steve. I'm in Italy, away from my business. But I'm not worried about the office or my absence from it. I'm confident because I've got Turnkey on my side. They've helped me solve several problems for my business, so I can finally relax for a bit while I let the business work. Not only did Turnkey help with my IT problems, their expert team gave me a custom consultation that found additional profit centers in my company. They've helped me focus on a new direction for my business. It's not easy to relax when you own a business, but with our partnership with Turnkey, I feel confident, resolved, and ready to deliver. Now, I'm going to relax, have a Peroni, and depend on the direction Turnkey has helped me embrace. They can help your business too. Visit turnkey.pro to start a conversation today. That's turnkey.pro.
The pros at Turnkey share your values. They know IT and they know small business. They're Chicagoland's small business champions. Visit turnkey.pro to book your appointment today. That's turnkey.pro.
Like many of you, I have a busy life balancing family, this show, travel, writing, and more. So that's why, for something complex like a mortgage, of course I recommend Andrew Del Rey and Todd Avakian at Sierra Pacific. They'll walk you through everything and handle all those details you just don't have time for. If you or someone you know is moving from blue state to red state, call them. Have an aging family member that needs financial relief? Ask them about reverse mortgage. Self-employed and finding it hard to qualify? Or a first-time home buyer? Call them. And renters who don't want to rent anymore? Andrew and Todd can help you prepare for that next step. For all things mortgage related, I trust Andrew and Todd to get it done right. Call 888-888-1172, 888-888-1172, or visit andrewandtodd.com. That's 888-888-1172 or andrewandtodd.com.
If you're a homeowner at least 62 years old, who has outlived your assets, or would like to unlock your home's equity for your monthly living expenses, then you need to call Team Hochberg about the benefits of reverse mortgage loans. If you've become your parents' caretaker and can no longer afford to pay all their expenses, then you need to call Team Hochberg about the benefits of reverse mortgage loans. If you're a financial planner who would like to learn how to unlock your client's home equity tax-free so they don't deplete the assets under your management, then you need to call Team Hochberg about the benefits of reverse mortgage loans now at 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of radio listeners understand and appreciate the many benefits of reverse mortgages, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 112-4061.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming excuse me, let me try that again. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Get a generator. The grid is no longer reliable as long as these eco-supremacists are afoot. That's the statement from Steve Moore's Unleash Prosperity newsletter. We'll talk to him about that at 7:37.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
78 degrees at 7:32. More hot and steamy weather today, and air quality will be a problem in some parts of the state. President Biden's son Hunter will appear in federal court due there today in Delaware. He's expected to make a plea to misdemeanor tax crimes. A federal judge is striking down the Biden administration's new rules for asylum seekers at the southern border. The judge put his ruling on hold for 14 days for an expected appeal. Congress will hold a much-anticipated hearing on UFOs today. Former U.S. intelligence official will testify before the House Oversight Committee. The Federal Reserve's pause on interest rate hikes appears to be over. Bankrate's Greg McBride says the Fed is expected to raise its key rate another quarter point.
It's going to be the 11th time in 12 rates. We're getting close to the end. Is this the last one? Will they raise more in the fall? That's an open-ended question, and the outcome of which is going to be largely dependent on what we see on the inflation data.
The goal is to bring inflation down to around 2%. A new bipartisan bill would make changes to how college athletes make money. Democrat Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia and Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama unveiled a bill Tuesday that would establish a national standard for name, image, and likeness deals for use of a college athlete's name and image. Blackhawks owner Rocky Wirtz dead at the age of 70. His son and team CEO Danny Wirtz is expected to take over ownership. A lawsuit has been filed on behalf of 3 people injured in an incident where a Jeep crashed into a Hinsdale sandwich shop. According to attorney Lou Cairo, the 3 plaintiffs in that case sustained physical and emotional injuries when a Jeep came crashing through the facade of that building. 2 brothers whose murder convictions were overturned are suing the Chicago Police Department. Reginald Henderson and Sean Tyler filed suits claiming they were coerced into making false confessions.
One thing that you can never get back is time. 25 years is gone. I can't get that back. Aside from that, the people who passed away cannot be brought back. What needs to be done is just justice.
American swimmer Katie Ledecky is now tied with Michael Phelps for the most individual world championship gold medals of all time. Ledecky won gold today in the 1,500-meter freestyle by 17 seconds at the World Aquatics Championships in Japan. Ledecky will attempt to win her record-breaking 16th individual title with the 800-meter swim on Friday and Saturday in the freestyle. Dansby Swanson, a pair of home runs to lead the Cubs to a 7-3 win over the White Sox. Bears have the full roster ready as they open training camp. The news service of Salem Surround. Go to surroundchicago.com today. And a check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager explains the significance of talk radio.
Talk radio is enormous. Talk radio has a larger audience than Tucker Carlson does. We are the last best hope on earth, as Lincoln described America, than ever in our history.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
What's the best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda? No, it's not voting Republican. A better option is to vote with your wallet. Democrats get easy votes by giving away newly printed money, but we can fight this never-ending scam by making use of physical gold. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. These special accounts allow you to preserve your retirement and help the country at the same time. Plus, you pay 0 penalties or taxes on the transfer. To learn more, text the word HEDGE to 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold IRA company I trust, so text HEDGE to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. If it's all true, it's by far the biggest scandal in U.S. history. At least 9 members of the Biden family, including Joe Biden himself, have allegedly received at least $10 million from corrupt foreign actors. One country involved is America's chief adversary, China. IRS whistleblowers have stated that many in government, including the Justice Department, work to ensure no investigation of Hunter Biden would ever implicate the president. It all sounds pretty newsworthy, but these disclosures have made hardly a ripple on the pond of mainstream media coverage. Of course, the media leans left, but there's more to it than that. This time, the media's credibility is at stake. The roadmap to the corruption was on Hunter Biden's laptop. The laptop it insisted before the election was Russian disinformation. By covering the story now, the media must confess its own corruption and complicity then. And so the silence continues.
Building owners, property managers, and chief engineers. This one's for you.
Hello, this is Bruce Diedrich with Waukegan Roofing, your professional roofer. Everything starts on top. Your investment, your building, and everything in it is protected by your roof. It needs to be in good shape. That's where we can help. If it needs to be repaired or replaced, or you think it might, call us. Let's find out. Here's the number.
847-623-1625.
At Waukegan Roofing, our employees are union-trained roofing professionals with OSHA safety training certifications and have thorough knowledge and expertise regarding the various roofing systems we sell, maintain, and install. We know commercial roofing systems because that's all we do. Over 110 years of doing commercial roofs. Waukegan Roofing has the slogan,
Roofs you can rely on.
because you can. Here's the number to call.
847-623-1625.
And get the info at WaukeganRoofing.com. WaukeganRoofing.com.
If you speed, there are lots of sounds that you might hear, like the sound of your vehicle crashing, because eventually, speeding catches up with you.
7:39. Let's get a quick update on the roads in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. A service of MyPillow, queen-size MyPillows, regular price, $69.98. Now, only $19.98 with promo code LIBERTY. Visit MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Kennedy, it's an hour and 10 minutes O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Traveling on the Eisenhower this morning, 58 minutes, 390 to the old post office. Stevenson, 53 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Still dealing with an accident left shoulder between the Veterans Memorial Tollway, that's I-355, and Lamont Road on the inbound side of the Stevenson. Dan Ryan, 22, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. I-57 outbound, accident right-hand shoulder at 176th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partly to mostly sunny this morning. Storms are on the way. Breezy and humid for the rest of the day with a high of 94. Right now, 78. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago, where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The eco-supremacists have another target. Nobel laureate in physics, John Clauser. He won the Nobel Prize in 2022 for experiments with entangled photons, establishing the violation of Bell inequalities, and pioneering quantum information science.
How did you know I was just jonesing to talk about
We're going to discuss that in the after show that we do.
Oh,
have a little round table on entangled photons. So you
I love entangled photons.
catch
That
that
should be the name
online.
of a band.
That's
entangled photons.
That's on Morning Answer Extra. Okay.
Which isn't a thing, by the way. So don't email us. Say,
Not yet.
Where can I find that?
So this Nobel laureate in physics, John Clauser, has said the climate emergency narrative is a I'm quoting him, dangerous corruption of science that threatens the world's economy and the well-being of billions of people. He was scheduled to give a talk before the International Monetary Fund's Independent Evaluation Office. That's a fun group. Entitled, Let's Talk, How Much Can We Trust IPCC Climate Predictions?
I sense they're going to be Kappas later on in life.
Yeah. A lot of your sorority sisters.
That's in their wheelhouse.
Were
for
attending.
Sure. Uh-huh.
Of course, he's talking about International Panel on Climate Control, the on climate change, the UN affiliated group of busybodies. That got canceled. He also observed that misguided climate science has metastasized, quoting him, metastasized into massive shock journalistic pseudoscience. In my opinion, there is no real climate crisis. I'm old enough to remember when we were supposed to believe the experts. Not here. Not when the experts break from political orthodoxy, as we all know. 1998 Nobel laureate Professor Robert Laughlin has expressed the view the climate is beyond our power to control, and humanity cannot and should not do anything to respond to climate change. Another Nobel laureate, Ivar Gayever, is also is the lead signatory of the World Climate Declaration that states there's no climate emergency. But that's not what Hillary Clinton says. Hillary Clinton's been looking at some of the weather reports out of Arizona, and she says we're on fire and de-elect all those MAGA Republicans.
She's a meteorologist now, right? I love how when it's hot in Arizona because it's the desert and it's the summer, which I know this is 24 days. That is a long, long stretch. Yes, it's beating the record that was made in 1974. But this happens, and they're associating it
not just
with Republicans and
1974.
climate change.
It's the hottest in 125,000 years, according to Ilhan Omar, who has data that nobody else has, apparently.
Because we didn't start tracking weather data until the 1890s.
In Steve Moore's Unleash Prosperity newsletter, which is always informative, talking about the Biden administration going after washing machines and dishwashers and hot water heaters and cars and stoves, your wardrobe, your Barca lounger. Get a generator. The grid is no longer reliable. Is that too much hyperventilation? Well, let's ask him. Steve Moore, economist, author of Govzilla. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Hey, guys, good morning. And by the way, I was listening to that conversation you guys were just having. You know, this is so dangerous what's going on right now. I mean, we kind of laugh about it, but there was a poll that just came out. It'll be in today's hotline. You haven't received it yet, but, you know, a majority, 70% of Democrats, 70% now say it is the government's responsibility to shut down misinformation. 70%. I mean, our First Amendment rights are the most basic and cherished rights that we have as Americans. I don't even know if these Democrats even know what the First Amendment is, but they want the government to shut down people like John Clauser because they disagree, because it's, quote, misinformation. Lord knows, by the way, who the speech police will be who are going to determine. By the way, how much longer is the Dan and Amy show going to be allowed to be on the air?
Well,
you guys spread so much misinformation.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you're not taking the party line here. We need to put a muzzle on the both of you and stop saying the things you're saying. By the way, I'm joking, but this is very serious. Nobody understands the First Amendment. Even almost half of Republicans want the government to stop misinformation. It's outrageous. You have the right in America to say it. I have the right to offend you guys. Did you know that? I have the right to offend you with my speech.
And that's okay. We'll let you do it.
Well, I mean, yeah. I sometimes those questions are a little misleading, and I think it leads people down. They're trying to lead people down to that conclusion.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
you say people hear that misinformation's bad. Yeah, we should eliminate misinformation. But if you say, wait a second, you want to silence people you disagree with? No, I don't want to do that. I just want to eliminate misinformation. It's that
Right.
people are, some people are not.
Yeah, I hope
thoughtful.
you're right. I mean, I hope you're right about that. But these young. By the way, the people, according to that poll, that are most likely to want to shut down quote misinformation are young people. Young people, the kids. They're like young Stalinists. They're being taught in school. We can't tolerate any kind of opinion. Remember the whole idea, Amy, of these what do they call them? Safe spaces for
Safe
the kids.
spaces.
So
Yeah,
they
like the
say,
buddy bench,
Yeah.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to hear anything that might offend me. Oh my gosh! And they huddle in the corner in the fetal position. I mean, what the hell is
Yeah,
going
but then
on
our
with
government is scaring them. If it wasn't COVID, now it's on climate
Exactly.
change. I mean, they canceled
Yep.
football practice yesterday at almost all CPS schools because of the wildfire smoke coming from Canada, which it wasn't even foggy or hazy outside. So, I mean, first it's COVID shutdowns, and now it's going to be that.
Oh, by the way, on that, you mentioned the wildfires in Canada. Those are emitting more carbon in the atmosphere than like every, like all the oil and gas fields. So maybe instead of shutting down American Energy, Dan, maybe we just have better forest management so we don't have these forest fires emitting. Same thing. It's unbelievable.
Why
but
didn't they have
in
controlled
California,
burns? Why?
Exactly. Or why don't they do something, 1/100th of the cost? Then no, but they'd rather force everybody to buy an electric vehicle, and everybody has to have solar panels and blah blah blah. And I don't know, these people are pretty nuts.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to call into question the competency of Justin Trudeau, of course, but I do. I don't want to get your question. The question I asked.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is it? It's really time to get a generator. The grid is no longer reliable.
Yeah. So this was based on. Yeah, I do. I really do. And I'm not joking here, folks. You should get a generator because this electric grid system is extraordinarily vulnerable to blackouts and brownouts. And anybody who's lived in California in the last few years knows that you're having blackouts and brownouts that are pretty routine there. And there was an article, you may have seen it, Dan and Amy, in the Los Angeles Times the other day saying maybe we need to have routine blackouts and brownouts to deal with climate change. So they're even admitting, hey, you know how we're going to solve climate change? We're going to shut off your lights. We're going to shut off your electricity. And by the way, it's because we have electricity. This is a statistic that I know that both of you and Amy know. But the number of people who die from heat, extreme weather events, whether it's extreme heat like many states are having now, or extreme cold,
Right.
the percentage of people who die is infinitesimal compared to the number 100 years ago or 500 years. Now, I'm not really sure what it was in 90,000 BC.
Ask Ilhan Omar.
Apparently, so I can't claim that one. But so you're going to shut down people's electricity during a heat wave, or a polar vortex? People are going to die.
Now we do see a little bit of backtracking. It's very, very tepid, but still a little bit of backtracking from some in the West. We saw a little bit of backtracking on nuclear power, meaning not shutting down nuclear reactors in Germany. We're seeing a little bit of backtracking about eliminating fossil-fueled cars in England from Sunak.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there is a backlash against this because the people are saying insane policies that would do so much damage to society. But yes, I do think that the electric grid system is vulnerable. And the reason the system is vulnerable is that the left, listen to Joe Biden. I mean, he's the president of the United States. He wants to stop the production of coal and natural gas in the electric grid system. Now, folks, we get 65% of our electricity from natural gas and coal. So really, you're going to shut that down? Yes, there will be blackouts and brownouts, and you're going to try to charge your cell phone, Susie, and guess what? Nothing's going to come out of the wall. No electric power because they've shut down coal, they've shut down oil, they've shut down gas. They won't build new. Now, you're right. There's a little movement on nuclear power, but not a whole lot. We've built like 2 nuclear power plants in the last 40 years. And by the way, more people have died from lithium battery accidents in the last year than have died in the last 40 years from nuclear power.
I noticed you also had this chart just talking about employment state by state, and I noticed that the job numbers over the last 3 years, the number of jobs created, decidedly in red states as compared to blue states, which is not surprising. What about this? Because we're dealing with a big spread in terms of white and black unemployment in Chicago. We're also dealing with a big spread in terms of youth unemployment as compared to unemployment numbers for people that are a little bit older. I think China has got a solution for us, especially because Brandon Johnson, the newly elected mayor, is looking at jobs programs, full-year jobs programs for our youth, get them on the straight and narrow. Return young adults to being full-time children and pay them for it. Working for her parents full-time, that's a new job of one mother of two who was struggling with her work childcare balance. So she just went back to being a full-time daughter, spending time with her parents, and they're paying her $1,100 a month in order to be a full-time child.
Where's that money coming from?
I believe that's coming from the magnificence of the Chinese Communist Party.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, what is your minimum wage there in Chicago?
It's in the city. It's
$112.
It's $15.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
going to 18.
You want to get more young people into jobs? It's pretty simple, folks. You have a teen minimum wage of maybe $9 an hour, and you'll see a lot more young people getting jobs. It's that simple. Why can't we have a teen minimum wage, by the way? I mean, it's important. My first job, as I've told you guys, was working out in Northbrook in a warehouse, and you learn so much. I was 17 years old or something like that. You learn so much on your first job. One of the things I learned is I don't want to spend the rest of my life working in a warehouse. But it's good to learn that lesson at 17 rather than 25.
Well, maybe when you're 25, you become a full-time son or daughter, and then you learn you don't want to spend your life with your parents. Maybe at some point maybe that's the way to get them to leave the nest. Steve Moore, economist, author of Govzilla. Steve, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, have a great week. Take care.
Thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having nationwide access with an annual deductible of only $226. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor. See Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 28-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
As you walk around the yard this spring, you'll likely see some cracked or sunken concrete. Maybe a sidewalk, stoop, driveway, or patio. These problems will only get worse, but there is an easy solution. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer with Permaseal. Our poly-level process can raise and level sunken concrete quickly and effectively, putting an end to eyesores and dangerous trip hazards. Poly-level is the quickest, least expensive, and most durable system to repair your sunken concrete problems. So don't live with a problem that will only get worse. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL for a free estimate. Permaseal has been helping Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana homeowners making their homes healthier and more valuable for over 40 years and has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Don't replace it, raise it. Call 800-421-7325 or visit permaseal.net.
Best for and better Permaseal.
If you're selling your home or purchasing a new home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Team Hochberg is offering every listener the Perks at Work benefit, which can save you thousands of dollars on your next real estate transaction. Here's how it works. When a Team Hochberg affiliated realtor sells your home, they'll reduce their fee up to 1%. When a Team Hochberg affiliated realtor helps you purchase a home, you will receive up to 1% of their commission in the form of a closing cost credit. Team Hochberg will credit all of your loan origination fees, and our affiliated attorney will reduce his fee. Last year, a couple who was buying and selling a home saved close to $9,000 with the Team Hochberg Perks at Work program. To learn how you can save thousands of dollars on your next real estate transaction, please give me a call now at 855-56-DAVID or visit our website 56david.com. That number again is 855-563-2843 or visit our website 56david.com. Lower.com, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
When life ends, your legacy begins. Ensure your legacy lives on at Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, with 47 locations throughout Cook and Lake counties. Take advantage of 0% financing, lock in today's prices, and safeguard yourself against rising inflation. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:08, our friend and retired prison psychiatrist Theodore Dalrymple on intellectual dysfunction, and there's a new study out about mass murderers that provides wonderful grist for the mill. Theodore Dalrymple at 8:08.
But now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Blackhawks owner Rocky Wirtz has passed away. AFSCME gets a new contract. Notre Dame great and Chicago Bear Johnny Lujack has died. Dansby Swanson powers the Cubs over the White Sox. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Hunter Biden has a court date. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. 1 hour from now in Delaware, where the president's son will plead guilty to 2 federal tax evasion misdemeanors and enter into a pretrial program that'll let him avoid a felony charge. Republicans call that a sweetheart deal for the president's son. Congressman Jim Jordan tells Fox Business.
It's supposed to be equal application of the law in the United States of America. That doesn't seem to be what happened here. The whistleblowers, Mr. Shapley, Mr. Ziegler, were very clear about that.
Another House Republican filed a brief with the court urging the judge to consider before accepting the plea deal those IRS whistleblower allegations of political interference to benefit Hunter in the case. That judge alleges also a Biden lawyer tried to get that brief removed.
This is what the judge wrote. She says, it appears that the caller misrepresented her identity and who she worked for in an attempt to improperly convince the clerk's office to remove the amicus materials from the docket. What we heard from Hunter Biden's legal team, they say the matter under consideration appears to stem from an unfortunate and unintentional miscommunication.
That's Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House. Some Republicans are pushing to impeach President Biden and Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who will face questions in a House hearing next hour. Fox's Ryan Schmelz reports.
The committee's chairman sent a letter to Secretary Mayorkas to, quote, be prepared with data and information such as the number of migrants released into the country. While Republicans have been critical of Mayorkas' handling of the border, the Biden administration says it's seeing a significant drop in migrant encounters at the border in recent months.
A federal judge ruled against a recent Biden border policy denying asylum to some migrants, but let it remain in effect pending appeal. Also next hour at the House, a UFO hearing.
It features military pilots who've seen strange things while flying for the U.S. One witness is former intelligence officer David Grush. He contends the military has pieces of a craft that is not from Earth and may even hold remains of an extraterrestrial pilot.
Fox's Chad Pergram. America's listening to Fox News.
78 degrees at 8:02. Partly sunny skies this morning and more hot, steamy, and fairly normal summer-like weather is around. However, air quality will be impacted in much of the state. Blackhawks owner Rocky Wirtz is dead at the age of 70. The team releasing a statement announcing Wirtz's sudden passing yesterday. Wirtz took over the team in 2007 after the death of his father and then oversaw a transformation of the franchise, 3 Stanley Cups during his tenure. Human remains found buried 40 years ago in Indiana have now been identified as a Chicago teen, the victim of serial killer Larry Eiler. The remains belonged to Keith Bibbs, who was 16 when he died. The teen's body was found in 1983. More than a year ahead of the Democrat National Convention in Chicago, a peace deal has been brokered with union heads. Jamie Harrison is with the DNC.
Sometimes you come into the cities that are hosting the convention, and there are a lot of internal dynamics.
The agreement means unions apparently won't strike during the convention, as well as during setup and teardown. Chicago sports, Dansby Swanson, a pair of long home runs, Cubs 7-3 winners over the White Sox. The Bears have their full roster in camp for training camp as it kicks off today. The news, a service of Health Insurance Mentors. Call Stephen Tucker today for free Medicare advice. Visit healthinsurancementors.com or call 630-674-1551. 630-674-1551. 804. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Coca-Cola shares are higher after Coke reported a stronger than expected quarter. The company says the strength of its business in the last 6 months is giving Coca-Cola the confidence to raise its forecast for the year. AT&T also just reported upbeat earnings. It added 326,000 subscribers with a monthly bill in the quarter. Just 3 months ago, AT&T's quarter fell short of expectations. General Dynamics also reported better earnings and revenue than forecast. Today, the Federal Reserve is expected to raise interest rates for the 11th time since March of last year. The 0.25% increase will raise rates to the highest levels in 22 years, though many economists believe this will be the end of rate increases to fight this era of inflation. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
The best conversations happen with a cigar in one hand and a fine drink in the other. Join Dennis Prager live in Chicago for Cigar Night on Thursday, August 24th at Klein Creek Golf Club in Winfield. Presented by Wilkins Mazda and Wilkins Hyundai in Elmhurst. Dennis will be joined by AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson for an evening of cigar smoking and good conversation. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Paul Davis Restoration, online at pauldavischicago.com.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Freedom Square is an unbelievable service designed to unite freedom-loving Americans. I know these guys. They love their country and they're doing an amazing job. You can log on now to create your free personalized dashboard. All of your favorite news sites, podcasters, all on one site, all at your fingertips. Sign up your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with freedom-loving Americans. Look, people want businesses they can support. You want to know the good guys from the bad guys. That's freedomsquare.com. Log on right now and create your personalized dashboard. Join us in the fight, so check it out. freedomsquare.com. Freedom lives here.
Let's welcome our new Freedom Square Business Network members. Freedom's Journal Institute, Good Ranchers, Bull Valley Golf Club, and GiveSendGo.com. It's time to unite and vote with your dollars. Download the Freedom Square app and register your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with patriots. Freedom Square. Freedom lives here.
Can you believe it? We're already in the 7th month of the year. You're more than halfway through. It's time to reset your resolutions. You got to take care of yourself. Nobody wants to look like J.B. Pritzker. I utilize and control my appetite many different ways. One of my favorite ways is 120life.com. Not only does it help me with my appetite, but it controls my blood pressure. High blood pressure affects 1 in 2 adults in America today. Most of them are unaware that they even have high blood pressure. Now, don't worry. There are ways to lower your blood pressure naturally. My favorite way is 120life.com. You can drink it in its usual original format, the juice, or they have a new powdered formula. It's easy to carry. 1 gram of sugar, 5 calories. You can put it in your pocket. Still has the same ingredients. So I encourage you to restart your resolutions this July. Check out 120life.com. That's 120life.com and use coupon code LIBERTY to save 15% on your order. Plus, free shipping. And get this, you'll earn customer rewards point with every order. 120 Life. We need more stuff like this.
What's the best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda? No, it's not voting Republican. A better option is to vote with your wallet. Democrats get easy votes by giving away newly printed money, but we can fight this never-ending scam by making use of physical gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. These special accounts allow you to preserve your retirement and help the country at the same time. Plus, you pay 0 penalties or taxes on the transfer. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold IRA company I trust, so text PROTECT to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
8:08 on AM 560, The Answer. We're watching 2 developing stories right now. One in New York City, where a crane has caught fire in Manhattan during morning rush, and that crane has partially collapsed. Keeping an eye on that for you. And for our friends in Belvedere, Woodstock, and Huntley in that general neck of the woods, there's a severe thunderstorm warning that has just popped up. Winds gusting at 70 miles an hour this morning, and that severe thunderstorm warning stays in place until 8:45. Let's get an update on the roads now. We do that, of course, in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. The Eden's at 40 minutes now, Lake Cook Road to the junction, while the Kennedy is at an hour and a half from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike solid through the avenues, 60 minutes in from 390 to the old post office. Stevenson in 49 minutes from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. I-57 outbound, accident right-hand shoulder at 176. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Sunshine, clouds, and a couple of showers. Heavy thunderstorm today. That could bring some downpours, damaging wind, isolated tornado, high 94. Partly cloudy tonight, low 72. Partly sunny, hot, and humid tomorrow, the high again, 94. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
79 now at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30. Breaking news as it happens. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Did you catch this story about what Hunter Biden's lawyers, representatives of his legal counsel, apparently did?
I don't know who the hell they think they are that they could get away with this, but tell everybody what.
Well,
they did.
he's scheduled to appear in court
Within
to
the
find
hour.
out whether or not the judge is going to accept a plea bargain that he's entered into with prosecutors. And the report is that representatives of Hunter Biden called the clerk of the court misrepresenting themselves as representatives of House Republicans who had submitted effectively an amicus brief with the court, providing evidence as to what, in furtherance of the argument that the judge should not accept the plea bargain to which the parties have agreed, that she should impose more severe sentencing consistent with the guidelines, or just set aside the plea bargain for further determination. So Hunter's attorneys called the clerk, allegedly representing themselves as representatives of the House Republicans, saying, ignore what we submitted.
Yeah, or heavily redacted. I mean, what are they, the jerky boys making, hello, they say Stan.
Right. They should have.
The refrigerator's running.
They should have. The clerk should have known when she was called Sizzle Chest by one of the.
What can the judge do to them? What should she do to them today?
Saul Greenberg called and said, I'm suing you for the punitive damages that you're giving me. That should have been a tip-off. But they had until, I guess, last night to show cause as to why sanctions should not be considered for misrepresentations to the court. So we'll see what happens today. Not only, if that's true, then not only should they be sanctioned, they should be up for disbarment, whoever the responsible parties are. Just unbelievable.
It's just the arrogance of these people, of Biden and the people that surround themselves and their attorneys and representatives. And, of course, this is something else that they thought they could get away with.
This actually folds in nicely into a piece that's written by our friend Theodore Dalrymple over at Law and Liberty, lawandliberty.org, about intellectual dysfunction. The professionals, the experts, the officers of the court, all the betters that are supposed to be the institutional guardians of our civilizational power centers like courts of law. And yet, as he reminds us, the big question being debated in certain academic circles over the last couple of years, in part because of a spoof, and he had fun with it, so I'll let him have his fun. We've heard the discussion of what is a woman. You've got a sitting Supreme Court justice that couldn't define that. What about the question that was asked in an academic journal about 6 years ago now? What is a penis? Have we reached a conclusion on that? Theodore Dalrymple is contributing editor of City Journal. He's also a senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute and the author of many, many books, including Life at the Bottom and Romancing Opiates. Theodore Dalrymple, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for asking me.
So did we get to the answer to that pressing question, what is a penis?
Well, I think most of us got to the answer fairly early in our lives, but apparently not for certain intellectuals and theorists.
You're referencing this academic spoof that was put on by James Lindsay and Peter Boghossian 6 years ago, where they submitted these absurd papers, and they were peer-reviewed and published in academic journals like Cogent Social Sciences. This was the, as you excerpted in your piece, this was sort of the thesis statement from this spoof submission. Penises are problematic, and we don't just mean medical issues like erectile dysfunction and crimes like sexual assault. As a result of our research into the essential concept of the penis and its exchanges with the social and material world, we conclude that penises are not best understood as the male sexual organ or as the male reproductive organ, but instead as an enacted social construct that is both damaging and problematic for society and future generations. So what are we to do about the penis? And people take this seriously, and as you write about, and then the damage control after they are punked and embarrassed as they were is even more ridiculous than the spoof submissions.
Yes, I mean some people said, well, it might have been a spoof, but actually it was enunciating a truth.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is a worthy debate about defining what this is and whether it's just entirely a social construct, male reproductive organ.
In making a joke, they were saying something that was true.
And
that was the argument,
right? And you call this sort of thing what's happened here with these academic journals and what happens with these absurd studies that are not too far off from the spoofs. You call that state-funded stupidity. What do you mean?
Well, what I mean is at least third-party funded stupidity. I dare say that some universities, of course, have private funding, but nevertheless, these ideas are funded by certainly in Europe by the state, and probably to a large extent in America also by the state. People are paid to write in this fashion. They write whole books in this fashion. I have on occasion been asked to review some of them. I haven't done it with great pleasure, I must say. But this kind of nonsense is now standard in large part of academia.
A good example of this, getting away from the gender silliness, is something that's more serious. I mean, in the sense of life and death. There's a study that was just published by the Journal of the AMA, Journal of AMA Surgery, I guess, the specific publication. This brought to us by one of your colleagues at City Journal, Ian Kingsbury. And they're looking for the association between structural racism and mass shooting events in U.S. cities. And they use a lot of weaselly words to essentially suggest there is some sort of connection. And they use junk stats to buttress their case, too. They white perpetrators commit 49% of mass shootings compared with 19% by black perpetrators. What they fail to disclose, and what the author points out, is, well, since whites represent about 50% of the population, a little bit more than that, they're underrepresented in mass shooters, whereas blacks at 19% are 50% overrepresented. So what does that tell us about structural racism? Absolutely nothing. It tells us that you're just trying to connect things that don't have any obvious connection, and you're sort of papering over the lack of a connection with your own stylized correlations. So, but this is an example of what's out there to justify all sorts of things, whether it is race-based policies, or we were just talking with Steve Moore about all the junk science in the area of climatology, whether it's used to justify, taking the gas stove out of your home.
Yes, well, the medical journals are full of correlations supposedly showing causation, although, of course, everyone knows that association is not causation. But if you take that particular example of the mass shooting, a minimally able academic would be able to turn what you've said on its head and say that actually this just goes to show that there is a very strong correlation between structural racism and mass shootings, because, of course, people who are in a very unfortunate position psychologically are prone to mass shootings, and, of course, black people are prone or have an unfortunate psychological situation because of structural racism. So no statistics could actually refute the premise on which this kind of thinking is based.
And the explanation for the seemingly endless stream of these sort of specious academic articles that appear in all of these journals, what's at play?
Yeah, my explanation, and I agree that I can't actually prove it. I couldn't go into court and say I have definitive proof of this, but I think that most of this writing is seeking power rather than truth. And they're trying to impose people are part of a class that are trying to impose themselves on the rest of society. In Britain, I don't know whether you've noticed this, a conservative or right-wing politician called Nigel Farage had his bank account closed down by a bank which claimed to be inclusive, although you have to have about $4 million, I think $3 or $4 million to open an account there, so it's not all that inclusive. But anyhow, he had his bank account closed down by a bank that prides itself on these kinds of reasonings, and I think this actually demonstrates how deep the problem is, because if a bank staff is kind of infiltrated by this kind of thought, then it has gone further than even I had thought.
Power is the only good. It's the only thing worth having. Truth has no value and nothing to do with it. That's Theodore Dalrymple's summation of what we're seeing, and the manifestations are just examples of that. Theodore Dalrymple, contributing editor, City Journal, senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute, author of books including Life at the Bottom and Romancing Opiates. Theodore Dalrymple, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
The roof was completely gone.
All of our memories being wiped away.
The rain is what got
20 minutes of sheer terror.
And you can feel it in your body.
I watched the fire move down the canyon.
The rumbling of the house.
My son started screaming, we're going to die, we're going to die. In the name of Jesus, we are not going to die.
At Samaritan's Purse, we bring spiritual and physical aid to hurting people around the world. We go into dangerous situations because in disaster, in disease, in war, Jesus calls us to love our neighbor, to heal the sick, feed the hungry, restore the broken. All who work and volunteer with Samaritan's Purse follow the example of Jesus. We go to serve, not to be served. And we go in Jesus' name. Join us at SamaritansPurse.org. That's SamaritansPurse.org.
The government is spying on you. No surprise, I know. But did you know the banks are helping them? And did you know that withdrawing your cash from the bank can be very risky? That's right. Let Swiss America educate you about this. Banks are now required to spy on us for the government, and they report any behavior they think is suspicious. You'll be shocked when you read The Secret War on Cash from Swiss America. This new war against cash is really a war against the Constitution, against all freedom-loving Americans. You must read The Secret War on Cash. Get your free copy by calling or texting 800-258-9968. 800-258-9968. This war on cash is growing daily, and it also includes all forms of digital money. So please get and read The Secret War on Cash free by calling or texting right now at 800-258-9968. 800-258-9968. Message and data rates may apply.
It's the season of Discovery Sales Event at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. If you're looking for a new or pre-owned Mazda, you need to visit Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. You'll find the Mazda you want, and the price you see is the price you get. No games, no gimmicks. And right now is a great time to buy a new Mazda with limited time incentives that only come around once a year. You can lease a 2023 Mazda CX-30 for $412 per month, or a 2023 Mazda CX-5 for $410 a month, for 36 months with approved credit through Mazda Capital Services for qualified buyers. Just add license, title, tax, and $324.24 doc fee. Plus, stop in today and ask about the all-new 2024 Mazda CX-90. And to keep your Mazda running great all year round, schedule your next service appointment right online at WilkinsMazdaCars.com. Wilkins Mazda, conveniently located in Elmhurst off of York Road and 290, just minutes from Oak Brook downtown and Schaumburg. Experience the next level of excellence at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Visit WilkinsMazdaCars.com. See dealer for details.
Do you know the number one complaint homeowners have about remodeling? How long it takes. Rick here from Forever Remodeling. Home remodels that were supposed to take weeks often stretch out to months or even up to a year. That's because many remodelers bite off more than they can chew. They take on too many jobs, they get spread too thin, and you end up frustrated, waiting an eternity for your project to get done. Call Forever Remodeling instead. From start to finish, we show your remodel the attention it deserves. We limit the number of jobs we do at one time. This lets us dedicate ourselves to getting your project done on schedule while delivering a result that's better than you imagined. For a free consultation, call Forever Remodeling at 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. We do kitchens, baths, basements, additions, and more. That's the number 4everremodeling.com.
Experts are saying the biggest economic implosion is coming. Where's your money right now? In real estate, the stock market, or heaven forbid, a bank? Those in the know are calling Swiss America, a leader in precious metals for over 40 years. Your financial advisor says metals don't earn interest. You'll never beat inflation without taking huge risks. And advisors hate precious metals because they can't make money off it. With your money safely stashed in precious metals, you can insulate yourself from the coming crash. To help get you started, Swiss America is offering beautiful U.S. Silver Walking Liberty half dollars at the amazingly low price of just $13.50 each. Delivered. Limit 250 coins per customer while supplies last. To take advantage of this deal, call or text 800-630-1498. That's Silver Walking Liberty half dollars for just $13.50 each, delivered to your door while supplies last. Help protect your assets today. Call or text 800-630-1498. That's 800-630-1498. Message and data rates may apply.
Hi, this is Steve. I'm in Italy, away from my business. But I'm not worried about the office or my absence from it. I'm confident because I've got Turnkey on my side. They've helped me solve several problems for my business, so I can finally relax for a bit while I let the business work. Not only did Turnkey help with my IT problems, their expert team gave me a custom consultation that found additional profit centers in my company. They've helped me focus on a new direction for my business. It's not easy to relax when you own a business, but with our partnership with Turnkey, I feel confident, resolved, and ready to deliver. Now, I'm going to relax, have a Peroni, and depend on the direction Turnkey has helped me embrace. They can help your business too. Visit turnkey.pro to start a conversation today. That's turnkey.pro.
The pros at Turnkey share your values. They know IT and they know small business. They're Chicagoland's small business champions. Visit turnkey.pro to book your appointment today. That's turnkey.pro.
Are you considering a unique way to enhance your investment knowledge this year? Then sign up today for the all-inclusive Eagle Financial Publications Cruise. Along with our trusted partner, The Money Show, we're setting sail this December to explore some of the most beautiful and unspoiled destinations in the Caribbean. But this is no ordinary vacation. It's a chance to learn from top Eagle Financial experts like best-selling authors George Gilder, Mark Skousen, and others who will be hosting a series of workshops and seminars throughout the trip. Imagine lounging on the sun deck while discussing investment strategies with like-minded individuals, or enjoying a gourmet dinner at the same table with one of our leading financial authorities. This once-in-a-lifetime cruise is a perfect way to combine education and relaxation to achieve your investment goals. This cruise will sell out quickly, so visit EagleFinancialCruise.com today to learn more and to secure your cabin. That's EagleFinancialCruise.com. Eagle Financial is a division of Salem Media Group.
Did you know most vitamin supplements have a warning label on the back? That's because without the synergy of thousands of nutrients working together that are found naturally in whole fruits and vegetables, vitamins are not balanced. This is why Balance of Nature only uses whole fruits and vegetables, no isolates or synthetic vitamins of any kind. We take a variety of 31 of the highest quality fruits and vegetables and remove the water without changing the rich chemistry. It's then ground to a powder, blended to perfection, and encapsulated, preserving the nutrients and making it easy to get the fruits and vegetables you need. So even though Balance of Nature comes in a capsule and looks like a vitamin, it's very different. Go to balanceofnature.com and for a limited time this summer, get a free fruit and veggies travel set plus $25 off your first order as a preferred customer when you use discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:38, former acting director of ICE, Tom Homan, on border security and where things stand. That's 8:38.
And later, meet a young Dan Proft will explain. But now into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
79 degrees at 8:32. Fairly normal, hot, steamy, summer-like weather for the area, and some severe thunderstorms are popping up across the area. Air quality will be impacted mostly statewide. Several people are recovering from injuries after a crane caught fire and then partially collapsed in Manhattan this morning. That crane was about 40 stories in the air and then came crashing down on fire against the side of a high-rise. Debris rained down on the roadways along 10th Avenue in Manhattan. President's son Hunter Biden is set to appear in court today to formally plead guilty to charges stemming from U.S. Attorney David Weiss's investigation into his taxes. Fox's Mark Meredith has more from the White House.
The 53-year-old is due in court today to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor counts of failing to pay income tax. He's also reached an agreement with prosecutors to enter a diversion program for owning a firearm while also a drug user. We don't expect him to be sentenced today, but the deal between prosecutors and Hunter's legal team makes it unlikely he's ever going to serve any jail time. Up on Capitol Hill, Republicans claim the first son is getting special treatment. They point to the recent testimony of 2 IRS whistleblowers who claimed prosecutorial decisions were influenced by politics.
The U.S. attorney denies those whistleblower claims, saying he had full authority to bring charges that are necessary. A power outage at NASA in Houston briefly cut communications between Mission Control and the International Space Station. NASA was able to use Russian communication systems to notify crews of the problem within about 20 minutes. Blackhawks owner Rocky Wirtz is dead at the age of 70. The team releasing a statement announcing Wirtz's sudden passing yesterday. His son and team CEO Danny Wirtz is expected to take over ownership. A UPS driver was shot Tuesday morning delivering packages in Chicago's Humboldt Park neighborhood. It happened around 11 a.m. The 37-year-old suffered multiple graze wounds and is hospitalized in good condition. The largest union of Illinois state employees is signing off on a new contract. Governor Pritzker and AFSCME Council 31 announcing the ratification of a new taxpayer-funded 4-year deal. Bryce Hill of the Illinois Policy Institute says Illinois residents will see much higher taxes.
The private sector wage increases are not keeping up with this contract, which means taxpayers are going to see a larger share of their paycheck going towards subsidizing these pay raises in the AFSCME contract.
And guess who turns 80 years old today? Yeah, that guy. Mick Jagger turns 80 today, collaborating with a host of A-listers over the course of a career, including David Bowie, Tina Turner, Carly Simon, Jerry Lee Lewis, and yes, that would be Sir Mick Jagger. Dansby Swanson, a pair of home runs to lead the Cubs to a 7-3 win over the White Sox. Bears start training camp today. The news, the service of Health Insurance Mentors. Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you ever have. Call Stephen Tucker today for free.
Don't have enough tanks. Where's the concern for the United States in that?
Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern.
I don't think that's not my concern means what Mike Pence thinks it means. And I don't have a clue.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Cher fans, do you believe? Make your dreams come true when Tribute Artist of the Year nominee Lisa McClowry takes the stage as Cher to sing 2 great nights with her band. Saturday, July 29th at the Des Plaines Theater and Sunday, July 30th at the Arcata Theater in St. Charles. Celebrate 6 decades of Cher in an amazing live music and multimedia production. The Beat Goes On, featuring all the songs you know and love. Plus the inside stories about Cher's life and career. And don't forget those incredible costumes. The Beat Goes On from Legends and concert star Lisa McLaurin, who sings and talks and moves so much like Cher, you'll swear you're watching Cher herself. The Beat Goes On, Saturday, July 29th at 7:30 at the Des Plaines Theater and Sunday, July 30th at 5 p.m. at the Arcata Theater in St. Charles. Get your tickets now at beatgoesonshow.com.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
This balance of nature has really helped me. It has kept me peppy as far as energetic. I honestly know that I have to give it credit. So I know that greatest thing that I take is that balance of nature. No matter what I have to endure, I am not giving balance of nature that.
It gives us more energy, and we have a rescue farm to take care of. And there isn't anything else that we've changed that would give us the energy, and we just love it. We just swear by it. Both Chuck and I have had the same experience, and I said, Chuck, it has to be balance of nature.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
For over a decade, SimpliSafe has revolutionized home security, and our latest advancement is here, 24/7 LiveGuard protection, only from SimpliSafe. Now, monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplisafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Go with your gut. Your dog's immune system is based in the gut. A diet lacking in nutrients can cause itching, scratching, and a weak immune system. However, there is a solution. DINOVITE, Dinovite.
It took a grand total of 2 weeks. The dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Try Dinovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
8:39, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. The Edens at 40 minutes, Lake Cook Road into the junction. The Kennedy right now at about an hour 20 from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike, it's an hour 10 from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson jams solid between Harlem and Kedzie, 54 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. And the Dan Ryan 23, 95th into the Burns Circle. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Sunshine, breezy and humid for much of the day. We will see pop-up showers and a potential for a heavy thunderstorm in a high of 94. Partly cloudy and 72 overnight. 78 right now. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. As welcoming cities like Chicago and New York continue to expend more resources to provide shelter and food, job opportunities for migrants in this country. Of course, the argument goes, look, they're being released in this country until they can have their asylum application adjudicated. And it's we're bringing more judges to the border to expedite these hearings, to make determinations. And everything's going more or less swimmingly, no pun intended, according to Ali Mayorkas, the Department of Homeland Security, and Biden administration officials. Obviously, the most important thing is to be humane and the least important thing is whatever the law says. But is that even true? Well, ICE has yet to issue court summons for about 82% of the illegal immigrants allowed into the United States after a federal court ordered a halt on the Biden administration immigration and parole program. 82% of those allowed into the country don't even have a court summons.
And they're never going to find them if they do have a court summons.
Tim Scott suggested in that conversation the other week with Tucker Carlson that you have asylum hearing dates that could be as far as 10 years out. So how serious is this system really? For more on this and related matters, please be joined again by Tom Homan, former acting director of ICE. Tom, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So what about the way this is presented? We have this process. People come here. They're seeking asylum. The case is assigned. It's adjudicated. There's a determination made. And, of course, the federal infrastructure enforces that determination one way or the other.
Well, here's what the administration's not telling you, right? Under the Trump administration, we stopped catch and release. And we kept people in custody that came across the border and made an asylum claim. And here's why we do that. The immigration court, the judges, the average length of stay in ICE detention was about 37 days. So if you're in detention, that's what the immigration courts, that's where they prioritize your case for those that are locked up. So you're in detention for 37 days, you get an order. You're either allowed to stay or get removed. 90%, based on 10 years of data from the courts, 90%, it's actually 87.8 or something like that, of those who claim asylum at the border never get relief from U.S. courts because they simply don't qualify. They're making fraudulent asylum claims. So we detained them. They saw a judgment in 37 days. They got order removed, and we removed them. And that pushed the numbers way down, those that are trying to come and make a fraudulent asylum claim. This administration is not detaining them in ICE facilities. They're releasing them. And they're releasing them because of a couple of reasons. Number one, they know that nearly 9 out of 10 don't qualify based on the last 10 years of immigration court data. They know 9 out of 10 will fail. They'll get an order removal. But they know if they're not detained, they'll be put on the non-detained docket, which would take anywhere from 7 to 10 years. In that time, they're going to have 1 USC kid, 2 USC kids, and all of a sudden when we do find them and they get order removal, all of a sudden everybody's raising hell. Why'd you remove that guy with 2 USC kids? Well, he didn't have 2 USC kids when he entered illegally. He didn't have 2 USC kids when he was ordered removed. But he went and hid out and had 2 USC kids. Now everybody wants to say, okay, well, he's forgiven. Let's give him amnesty. He's immune from the law. If the immigration court order doesn't mean anything, let's shut down immigration court systems too. But here's what you need to know. The Homeland Security Lifecycle Report, which the Secretary's very own report, says this. If you're in ICE detention and you get an order removal within that 37 days, you're removed 99.7% of the time. However, if you're not detained and you're released and you get order removal, that 90%, they're removed 6% of the time because they're in the wind. We don't know where they are. So this is why they're releasing them, because they know they're not, most of them won't qualify, and they know if they're released, they'll never be removed.
Oh, this is so this is really interesting. This is really helpful. So it's just a matter of you just talk generally about asylum, but it all comes down to the decision you make, detained and not detained, and then in the latter bucket, the not detained, then it's just basically open borders.
Yes, and if you add one more aspect to it, how many in the last almost 3 years they've released in the United States that the 90%, 88.7% that lost their case? How many have been removed after being issued a final order removal? That number is pretty close to zero. And why is that? Because on top of all this, Secretary Mayorkas has told ICE being in the country illegally on his own is not enough for you to make an arrest. So he's even added a caveat for these 90% that lose, ICE can't look for them and arrest them.
Right. So now it doesn't, the sanctuary cities and counties and states, it doesn't matter because Mayorkas has made the entire country a sanctuary country.
Absolutely. That is exactly why he needs to be impeached. He should have been impeached over a year ago, and I hope they continue down this road. He needs to be impeached. If they can impeach President Trump for making a phone call,
right,
you can't impeach Secretary Mayorkas for violating the federal statute, violating the oath he took, violating the sanctity of the Border Patrol, where he shamed the Horse Patrol, knowing that the facts were different.
Well, what about this new narrative when it comes to, obviously there's a heat wave and people that are coming to this country illegally know that. July and August are the worst times to walk through a desert to try and, sneak into this country. But now they're saying the Texas Border Patrol agents are denying pregnant women water. And I say they by meaning CNN. That was, over the weekend, they kept saying, oh, and they're, in this heat wave, they're denying people water. I don't believe that that's happening because, I used to live in Tucson and El Paso, and the Border Patrol agents I met were wonderful. What do you make of it?
I think it's a bunch of crap because the only humanity on that border is the men and women wearing that uniform. I was a Border Patrol agent, so I know. Look, these Border Patrol agents, they're mothers and fathers too. Mm-hmm. Their sons and daughters and brothers and sisters. They don't cut their heart out and hang on the wall when they put the uniform on. They do the best they can. They have saved over 8,000 lives this year alone, and risking their own lives. And now they're attacking Texas DPS. So people are cutting themselves on the razor wire. Well, so you're saying people are getting injured, breaking the law? That happens all the time. Right. But you got to understand the razor wire and the buoys in the river. It's just another reason why someone's not going to take that journey. With some lady with 2 kids, may not cross that river when she sees a buoy, and it's going to be hard to get over. When she sees razor wire, she may not make that trip, which means what? It means less migrants die. They say this administration is humane. Let me tell you something. Since Joe Biden's been in the White House, over 1,700 migrants have died on U.S. soil, a record by far, because when you promise the most vulnerable people in the world, you can cross our border legally, you're going to get released, we're going to fly you to the city at your choice at taxpayer expense, we're going to give you a work authorization, you get to keep that authorization for 7 to 10 years, and when you do lose your case, you're not going to be removed. When you make those type of promises, the most vulnerable people in the world are going to put themselves in the hands of criminal cartels to come to the greatest nation on earth. And this is when the criminal cartels, they sexually assault 31% of women. Migrants die every day crossing that river. While we're talking right now, females are being sexually assaulted by the cartels. The more barriers, the more consequence, the more deterrence you put on that border, the less people are going to make that dangerous journey, the less people will die. Secure borders save lives.
My friend's husband, he's from Haiti, and he snuck in here a few times and is still traumatized. He said, you talk about when you see it, women and children getting raped, and then they take them to these houses, and he said it's a whole crazy world down there. But how is it going to stop unless Biden does something now? Even our Democratic aldermen here in Chicago are, when you ask them, well, what can we do? They say Biden needs to shut down the border.
He needs to enforce the law. This can be fixed tomorrow if they just enforce the law. For instance, the federal law clearly says an arriving alien without proper documentation shall be detained, but they're not doing it. And look, the federal courts, the highest courts in the land, have said the Remain in Mexico program was a legal operation, so people can still claim asylum. They're just going to wait in Mexico until their hearing. That way, they're not catched and released in the wind and never to be removed again. There's a consequence. And let me tell you something. Under the Trump administration, we did the Remain in Mexico program. It took about 6 months, and all of a sudden they stopped coming. They stopped coming because they knew they weren't going to be released in the United States. They knew they were making a fraudulent asylum claim, but they're not going to be released in the United States. They will lose their case. They stopped coming. They stopped selling everything they owned to come to the United States, and they stopped selling everything they owned and giving it to the criminal cartels to abuse them. These cartels don't care about these people. If they during this heat wave last 2 months, a record migrants have died on U.S. soil. The migrants get sick, they get overheated. These smugglers aren't calling 911. They're leaving them there to die. Why? Because they're not worth a penny anymore. So these cartels are ruthless. And if Biden would just enforce the law, put the Remain in Mexico program back in tomorrow, and you would solve 90% of the problem.
Well, they're coming again, and what do you know about this latest caravan making its way through southern Mexico that's reportedly comprised mainly of Venezuelan migrants along with a small group of African and Haitian migrants, and the relationship between Mexico and the United States on this issue, compare and contrast it now to what it was under Trump?
Well, Mexico doesn't want to help solve this crisis. Why? Because last year, Mexico received over $61 billion, with a B, $61 billion in remittance payments from illegal aliens in this country sending money back to Mexico. That's a huge part of the GDP. Why do they want to fix it? It's also against the law of Mexico to transit their country illegally if you're from another country without a transit visa. But they're allowing it. It's against the law of Mexico to traffic in women and children, but they're allowing it. This administration isn't holding Mexico accountable. The Trump administration did. They said you're going to put military on your northern and southern border and stop the flow. You're going to require transit visas and not allow illegal aliens transit through your country. You're going to participate in the Remain in Mexico program. You're going to participate in the third safe country agreements. And if you don't, we're going to tariff you. And guess what? Mexico couldn't come to the table quick enough. And that's why we had the most secure border in my career, because we held Mexico accountable. Not only that, President Trump held Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala accountable. He made them sign the third safe country agreement, saying that if you're really escaping fear and persecution from Honduras and you make it into Guatemala or Mexico, have you not escaped that fear and persecution? You should be claiming asylum in the first free country you come.
Right.
And they all signed the agreement because he told them the same thing. If you don't do it, I'm not going to keep giving you millions of dollars of foreign aid. I'm going to stop it. And these countries are held accountable, and that's why they all assisted in creating the most secure border we ever had. This administration is not holding anybody accountable. Has this administration said a word to China about providing the precursors that make fentanyl that killed over 100,000 Americans? Have they said China stop sending these precursors to the criminal cartels in Mexico? Have they said anything to the Mexican president about the cartels in Mexico out of control, smuggling record amounts of fentanyl killing Americans? Fentanyl from Mexican cartels have killed more Americans than any war has. Is this president held Mexico accountable? Absolutely not.
He is Tom Homan, former acting director of ICE. Tom, thanks as always. Appreciate the information.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
It took a panicked run on a major bank to lead to the second biggest bank failure in U.S. history. And Moody's just downgraded the entire U.S. banking system from stable to negative. Just a reminder why many people diversify their portfolios with something tangible, something that doesn't need bailing out, something that can't vanish into thin air. Learn the truth in Swiss America's shocking report, The Secret War on Cash. This all-out war against cash is a war against the Constitution, against all freedom-loving Americans. You must read The Secret War on Cash. Get your free copy by calling or texting 800-630-1495. That's 800-630-1495. This all-out war on cash, digital forms of currency too, is growing daily. So please get and read The Secret War on Cash, free to Salem listeners by calling or texting now at 800-630-1495. Make sure you mention Salem when you call or text 800-630-1495.
Shed that fat, be slimmer for the summer. No more wearing cover-ups or T-shirts in the pool. NJ Diet will help you the natural way. No shots, no hormones, and no surgery. You'll lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40-plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work, along with bioenergetic scans, to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get your body into the fat-burning zone so you can finally lose the weight. Then NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Best of all, it's contractually guaranteed. You're fully supervised the entire time to make sure you're burning fat, not just losing water. And you even get Dr. T's personal email and phone number, Dr. Turovets. Dr. T is the founder of NJ Diet. NJ Diet has locations close by in Skokie and Oakbrook, or is available from home with live online video consultations. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com.
Did you know most vitamin supplements have a warning label on the back? That's because without the synergy of thousands of nutrients working together that are found naturally in whole fruits and vegetables, vitamins are not balanced. This is why Balance of Nature only uses whole fruits and vegetables, no isolates or synthetic vitamins of any kind. We take a variety of 31 of the highest quality fruits and vegetables and remove the water without changing the rich chemistry. It's then ground to a powder, blended to perfection, and encapsulated, preserving the nutrients and making it easy to get the fruits and vegetables you need. So even though Balance of Nature comes in a capsule and looks like a vitamin, it's very different. Go to balanceofnature.com and for a limited time this summer, get a free fruit and veggies travel set plus $25 off your first order as a preferred customer when you use discount code CHICAGO. Did you know most vitamin supplements have a warning label on the back? That's
Lots of
because
channels, nothing to watch, especially if you're looking outside of big corporate control. It's time to interrupt your regularly scheduled programs with something worth watching. The new Salem News Channel. Straightforward, unfiltered, in-depth insight and analysis from the greatest collection of conservative minds, all in one place. SNC is home to Dennis Prager, Mike Gallagher, Sebastian Gorka, and more. Watch anytime on any screen. Free 24/7. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. If it's all true, it's by far the biggest scandal in U.S. history. At least 9 members of the Biden family, including Joe Biden himself, have allegedly received at least $10 million from corrupt foreign actors. One country involved is America's chief adversary, China. IRS whistleblowers have stated that many in government, including the Justice Department, work to ensure no investigation of Hunter Biden would ever implicate the president. It all sounds pretty newsworthy, but these disclosures have made hardly a ripple on the pond of mainstream media coverage. Of course, the media leans left, but there's more to it than that. This time, the media's credibility is at stake. The roadmap to the corruption was on Hunter Biden's laptop. The laptop it insisted before the election was Russian disinformation. By covering the story now, the media must confess its own corruption and complicity then. And so the silence continues.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right. I wanted you to finish your conversation. We were happy.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
During the commercial.
I'll tell you that.
I gotta wait.
I'll tell you
48
after the show.
hours.
I'll tell you after the show.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks so much for making us part of your morning. Thanks to Justin Kosick, our technical producer, and Quinn McCarthy, our executive producer. We're back here bright and early tomorrow morning, and John Anthony will be in for you, Jim.
Yeah, I've got a sleepover with some of my golf friends.
Oh.
Isn't that fun?
Are you gonna spoon and watch beaches?
Tell ghost stories.
Yeah. All right, thanks. Now into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Blackhawks owner Rocky Wirtz has passed away. AFSCME ratifies a new contract. Illinois offers a tax credit for clean hydrogen use. Bears begin training camp today.